It's a whole new game.
As the world's largest hockey league is reduced to just 24 teams, we're getting closer to determining the conference champions. Today, it's the OHL's Eastern Conference semifinals, where the Oshawa Generals are coming off a solid win over Peterborough in the first round, and they take their 7 NHL draft picks and star goalie Ty Garner to Barrie. Where the Colts, with Bert Templeton behind the bench, also looked good in the first round, rolling over the Kingston Frontenacs. But this series may be different. Their big guns will have to find the net, with number 1 stopper Brian Findlay out with an injury. So stay with us. The Generals are marching into Barrie to face the Colts on CHL Sunday night. You are looking at Oshawa Generals goalie Ty Garner, Calgary's first-round choice in the 1996 entry draft. He will be a key figure in our game tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome to CHL Sunday Night here on Sportsnet. Jerry Dobson here, along with our junior hockey analyst, Mike Brophy of the Hockey News. Our game tonight, the Barrie Colts hosting the Oshawa Generals in an OHL Eastern Conference semifinal game. And Brophy, goaltending always a key thing in the playoffs, but it is really the storyline in tonight's game.
Well, absolutely. With Brian Findlay out indefinitely with a finger injury, that really hurts the Barrie Colts. However, I did stop and talk with Ty Garner, the Oshawa Generals, today. Very impressed with his attitude going into the series. He told me that while most people in the country would consider them the underdog in this series, he doesn't view them as the underdog at all. In fact, he said they expect to fully win every game they play against the Barrie Colts starting tonight. And what they want to do is get under the skin of a couple Barrie players that they think they can agitate. And let's see if they do it.
And that would make for one interesting game. The Colts and the Generals upcoming. First of all, let's recap the status of things around the CHL today. And first of all, we can tell you about an upset in Halifax today. The number 7 ranked team in the country, the Halifax Mooseheads, have been eliminated by the Acadie Bathurst Titans 5-2. They got 2 goals from Ramsey Abid today, singles from Philippe Plante, Gregor Baumgartner, and Martin Filion to defeat Halifax 5-2, and that's an upset, folks. They had 10,000 there today. They've had great crowds all season, and now they are gone. The Titans win the series 4-1, and now they will play the winner of the Rimouski-Quebec series, and Quebec is hanging on as well. They're the number 2 ranked team in the country. They won today 3-2, but they still trail that series by 3-2. In the other division in the queue, the LaBelle division, 2 games tonight. Hull and Shawinigan with the Olympic leading that series 3-1, and Sherbrooke will play Rouyn-Noranda, and the Huskies lead that series 3-1. In the Western Hockey League, only 1 game tonight to tell you about. It's the Kamloops Blazers in Kelowna to play the Rockets. The Blazers lead that series by 3-2. And a reminder, folks, we will be back in the first intermission with Bauer around the CHL. We'll have all the out-of-town scores for you, and of course, Mike Brophy will join me again for his analysis. Let's send you to Barrie, the Colts and the Generals. Here's our own Nick Kiprios and Kevin Quinn.
We're in Barrie, 1 hour north of Toronto, in the heartland of Ontario, the site of Sportsnet CHL Sunday Night, where they're down to the Final 4 in the Eastern Conference. The Oshawa Generals look to upset the conference number 1 seed, the Barrie Colts. Now the Generals knocked off a traditional rival when they eliminated the Peterborough Petes in 5 games. Brad Ralph led the charge with 4 goals and 5 assists in the series. Kevin Colley from nearby Collingwood chipped in with 8 points. All this backstopped by NHL-tested netminder Ty Garner. The Colts took 5 games to send the Kingston Frontenacs to the sidelines. The captain and first-round pick of Calgary, Daniel Tkachuk, had 7 points against the Fronts, and blue-collar grinder Nick Smith found his scoring touch with 6 points. But Barrie is without the OHL's winningest goalie over the regular season. Brian Findlay out with a broken finger. Rookie Vander Clark gets his first taste of playoff hockey. Easter Sunday serves up a special treat as the Barrie Colts face the Oshawa Generals in the Eastern Conference semifinal. It's game 1, and it's next. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a sold-out Barrie Molson Center. I'm Kevin Quinn, along with proud Papa Nick Kiprios. Nick, you and your lovely wife had a baby last week. Congratulations on that, first of all.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Now, I know you've probably experienced a few sleepless nights thanks to the little one, but I wonder if the coach of the Barrie Colts, Bert Templeton, has experienced some sleepless nights over his goaltending situation.
Well, if he is, and he should be, because it's been a devastating loss losing Brian Findlay.
But the question now is, how is their backup goaltender going to do? Vander Clark. We caught up with him earlier and asked him how is he going to handle the pressure of OHL playoffs.
I think everyone's over it now, and we're all confident that I'm going to get in there and do the job. At the time, sure, the guys felt down a little bit, but we've got time to battle back, and I think it's one of the last things on our mind right now. We just got to win tonight and next night, and hopefully win the game.
Well, you know the Oshawa Generals are going to come at Mr. Vander Glock full bore, and they've got some guys who can do that. They've been getting the job done. They certainly were full measure for that win over Peterborough.
Yeah, certainly a very convincing series against the Peterborough Petes. And Oshawa is very strong up front, and usually what's going to happen is hopefully for the Oshawa Generals, they will nullify Barrie's top two lines. Therefore, the way Oshawa is going to win this is with defense and, of course, between the pipes with Ty Gardner.
I think we just want to come out and play like we did against Peterborough, come out and hit their key lines and identify their key lines. And if we do that, we'll win the game. And we have to take advantage of Findlay being out of the lineup because this is one of the best goalies in the league, so we have to take advantage of it.
So it's the Oshawa Generals and the Barrie Colts, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. All from the Barrie Molson Center here in Barrie, Ontario. Stand by. The puck drop is next. The fans are ready, and so are we.
CHL Sunday night on CTV Sportsnet. Brought to you by Canadian Tire, still the right place. By Chrysler, a proud sponsor of major junior hockey. By Bauer, leave an impression. And by Molson Canadian.
Welcome, everyone. First of all, our national anthem. It is time for the first round of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Oshawa Generals taking on the Barrie Colts. Tonight's In the Nets brought to you by Heat and custom-made goalie equipment for goalies like Martin Brodeur and Ole Kolzig. In the Nets for the Oshawa Generals, 4-1 in the playoffs with a 2.60 goals against. Ty Garner with the nicest hair in the league.
And Kevin, Ty Gardner's play got consistently better throughout the Peterborough series, and right now he is in the zone. He was outstanding.
Now, speaking of pressure, look at the other end where Vander Clark gets his first postseason experience. Filling in for the injured Brian Findlay. Big shoes to fill, but look at that record during the regular season. Looks like the kid was okay.
Well, he certainly played well when he had to, especially when Brian Findlay was at the World Championships in Winnipeg. But throw that all out the window. This is pressure time, and will he handle it is the $64,000 question.
Bill Prisniak is the referee for tonight. Darren Price and Sean McQuigg are the linesmen. We're underway from the Molson Center in Barrie. The Colts in white. Sheldon Keefe out there with the big line of Jefferson and Barnes. The Generals will shoot it in. Race for the puck. Kevin Cawley gets there first, flips it on net, and the first save in the postseason for the rookie. Well, it's an easy one. Now let's take a look at our lineups brought to you by Sherwood, proud to serve the hockey world. In And the Oshawa Generals, Nick, you start on defense and you look at number 77, first-round draft pick of the Vancouver Canucks.
And you're going to expect Brian Allen to get a lot of ice time, especially against players like Tkachuk and Sheldon Keefe. He will be a key component in Oshawa's attempt to beat the Barrie Colts.
These two teams played 4 games during the regular season and split it 2-2. Both teams winning on home ice. 2 of the games in the 4 going to overtime. Number 77, Brian Allen, is out there as a big hit laid by Ryan Barnes. McMillan and Jefferson tie up. Jefferson has had trouble staying in the Colts lineup with suspensions. He takes a run at the captain. Chris File will pick it up for the Colts out there with Andre Lakos. Lakos up the middle of Barnes. That one intercepted by Coulter. Barnes will carry on and flip it in. There's Nick Smith. Behind the net. Smith with Christian out in front. Cycles it down low. Christian gets there, trying to center it out in front. Can't do it. Tetzlaff is there. Here's Christian. Wraparound attempt and a save. Another one, he scores! Mike Christian on the rebound. And the Colts are on the board with their grinding lineup, getting the goal.
Great second effort by Christian, staying with the puck and eventually getting his second opportunity and making no mistake. Great forecheck here. Nick Smith in down low with a Christian, with the wraparound, and again staying with it. And a great second effort by Christian gives the Barrie Colts a 1-0 lead.
Mike Christian with the goal, but the concern for the Oshawa Generals is with their star and their captain. That is Brian Allen. He is down and just getting to his skates right now. He has been suffering from a shoulder injury, but it looks like he was cut on the play. There's some blood on the ice, and it looks like he's been cut in the face. We'll keep our eye on that situation, as they cannot afford to lose a player of his caliber.
Certainly not the start the Oshawa Generals were looking for. Not only do they give up the early goal, but they now potentially lose their best player. And it was the stick that came up on the follow-through when Christian's second attempt on the backhand. Stick came up, caught him what looked to be probably the bridge of the nose. He'll probably be in there for about 5 or 10 minutes getting stitched up. Look for him to come back.
Mike Christian picks up his second goal of the postseason. Tetzlaff and Smith with the assists, and this line has been doing it in the playoffs. Michael Christian picking up his 5th point of the postseason. Back to touch it is Gillies, and that is icing. And we've got Coulter and Christian going at it. Everybody wants a piece of Mike Christian after that stick hit the captain of the Oshawa Generals, Brian Allen. So Christian is going to have to keep his head up all night long.
Well, Oshawa all season long has been a very physical team, and certainly coming in here tonight, they need to continue that. And the message has already been sent, I'm sure, to Mike Christian and the rest of the Barrie Colts. This will be a physical series.
All right, let's take a look at the Colts lineup, and you can see the defense has been very strong. We talked about the 2 forward lines have been the stars all year, but that working, grinding line of the Barrie Colts has been very productive in the postseason.
And every time it comes down to playoff hockey, whether you're in the NHL or here in the OHL, you look for unsung heroes to step up to the plate. Sure, Barrie will have Sheldon Keefe, Daniel Tkachuk going, but it's always that player that you don't expect to really step up to the plate. So far, it's been Nick Smith, and his line mates doing an outstanding job.
Mike Christian is in the box right now, and the Barrie Colts are shorthanded. Power play for the Oshawa Generals has been very effective in this postseason. They are the second best right now, operating at around 30%. So that is one aspect, the special teams that have been working so well for Oshawa in this postseason. They finished 4th in the Eastern Conference, hosted the Peterborough Petes, knocked them out in 5 games. Without Brian Allen, though, still in the dressing room. He got clipped with a stick of Mike Christian. Baxter shoots it in, race for the puck. Colts get it out. High stick, knocks it down, and the Colts get it all the way down the ice with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go in the man advantage. And another penalty coming up, and this time it will be to the Oshawa Generals. That will nullify the man advantage. As
You got
Calgary's 6th pick in 1997 gets nailed for holding. He was
certainly not a smart penalty here, especially when you have possession of the puck. He takes 2 cracks and interfering with the Barrie Colt forechecker on the penalty kill, and certainly a very undisciplined penalty nullifies the early power play opportunity.
So both teams playing 4 aside for the next minute and 5. On the Generals net, Dennis Schwitke and the captain Daniel Tkachuk. Here is Daniel Tkachuk trying to get it back to Schwitke, almost connected, but instead they come the other way, and this is John Kazuris. Kazuris takes a hit, gets it into the Colts zone. 45 seconds until Barrie goes on the power play. Here is Sean Cation. Cation trying to get it up to Tkachuk. Does. Tkachuk takes a bump. He's ridden off by Gillis. Schwitke carries on. Here is Tkachuk, hauled down by Gillis. And the Generals will get it out. Kazuris at center ice. Big hit there, and an injury again. The Colts throwing their body around. That one may have cost them, though, as Chris File went down hard, and he is still hurt.
Chris File trying to step up at the blue line. Caught a stick in the face, and you know this is going to be a physical series right from the get-go, but we certainly hope this isn't indicative of the rest of the series, the way the sticks have been up so far.
Second time this has happened.
Again, Chris File steps up, misses the player with the shoulder, and ends up catching his stick.
Earlier, Ryan Allen went off with a stick catching him from the Mike Christian, so Bert Templeton sees one of his steadiest defensemen. Chris File will have to go into the dressing room. We'll keep an eye on that. Here is Ben Vander Glock.
Vander Clark still looking for his first shot on goal, and I think he'll welcome that. Nothing better for a goaltender than they get to feel the puck real early.
4-on-4 for the next 16 seconds, and then the Colts will have the man advantage. From the faceoff, Upton controls it. Passmore up top now. There's a shot from Spence right on. That one just missed the target. Again, there's Baxter with a shot. And Vander Clark makes the save. 2 seconds. Mike Christian steps back on the ice. Colts are on the power play, and that has not been very effective for them in this postseason so far.
No, and I'm sure it's a big concern to Bert Templeton and his crew as they try to get towards an OHL championship. You cannot do it. You can't win championships without having great specialty teams, and that's something the Barrie Colts need to concentrate on tonight.
Just 2 goals in 25 opportunities against the Kingston Frontenacs. Here's a chance now. Sheldon Keefe couldn't hold on to the puck as he stepped on it, cleared but not out. Bill Zane with a wrist shot right on net. Garner makes the save, and he'll hang on to it with 12 seconds to go in the man advantage. No score here at the Barrie Molson Center for the Oshawa Generals, still looking for their first goal. They trail by 1. Well, the value of that sign just went down a few dollars with those. What's all that ink on there?
That's your signature,
Was
Kevin.
that mine? All
I
right.
think that's going to make lovely bird cage paper.
There you go.
Right there.
Well, you know, he wanted just your autograph, but I said, no way, I'm part of the package.
You had to ruin it.
12 seconds to go in the man advantage.
Who's kidding who? You are the king in this town.
Own Barrie, baby. Used to work here, of course, for 8 glorious years. Did the first game here at the Barrie Molson Center. Here's Ed Hill with a shot right on, and Garner makes the kick save. Christian with a chance. He puts it in! Mike Christian! Oh, when you're hot, you're hot! Christian, as they say, the impossible angle, gets it to go. A power play goal. It's 2-0.
Well, time and time again, coaches tell players when you haven't got to play, get the puck on net. Anything can happen. And certainly, this line does it again. Puck in the corner. First a shot off the point, then the puck goes in the corner. And Mike Christian, just trying to get the puck back in play, ends up slipping one by Ty Gardner. And certainly one he'd love to have back.
Second goal of the night, third of the playoffs, give him 6 points here in the postseason. He was not supposed to be the guy they were counting on for offense, but so far so good for Mike Christian.
And that Nick Smith line continues to get the job done. Not only do they provide tremendous checking for the Barrie Colts, but now they got an offensive flavor to their game, and it couldn't come at a better time for Bert Templeton's crew.
Here is Cameron moving in, looking for more. Demidov, he takes a big hit from Scott. And Cameron, another stick in the face, this time coming from number 23, Richard Scott. All heck is breaking loose right now.
An undisciplined penalty will cost Richard Scott a 5-minute major here and a game. Certainly not the smartest thing at this point of the game, although it's very early. You want to talk about early turning points in a game. This could well be it right here. Good solid check here. Nothing wrong with a good body check. He's sending a good message here. He follows it up though with a high stick. And the Oshawa Generals will now be short 5 minutes as we see blood trickling down from the lip. And again, Oshawa wanted to come out and play physical, but there's a big difference between playing physical and playing smart. Certainly we haven't seen the latter from the Oshawa Generals.
3 players cut so far in this hockey game with 15-14 to go in the first period. Brian Allen, Chris Feil, and now Scott Cameron, all nicked with a stick. And what an opportunity for the Barrie Colts, as they'll have a power play opportunity. They've already got 1 power play goal. Mike Christian has both goals for the Colts. A match penalty to Scott. A spearing infraction. Colts 1 for 1 on the power play. Took 3 shots. Mike Christian the big one. There's a shot that is hung on to by Ty Gardner with 14:50 to go here in the first period. John Goodwin is the coach of the Oshawa Generals. He had this to say before the game.
Well, we have to be more concerned with what Oshawa Generals do rather than what Barrie Colts do. They've got some high-skilled players and some great talent on the back end as well as the forwards. But if we play our own game, we worry about what we do best. We'll have some success in the series.
Certainly when John Goodwin speaks about the things that they need to concentrate on, the things that they need to do instead of worrying about your opposition, clearly this isn't what he had in mind, Kevin. Coming out, giving up a soft second goal from an impossible angle, and then now the undisciplined 5-minute major.
Mike Christian scored just 1:09 into the hockey game and then picked up a power play goal, and now the Barrie Colts have 4 minutes and 36 seconds to go. And the major penalty to Richard Scott. Face off in the Oshawa zone. Demidov trying to get it out, can't do it. Kept in by Chris Feil. He's back on the ice. He was flipped. His feet find the net to Jefferson. Mike Jefferson up to Sean Cation. Cation leaves it for Sheldon Keefe. Bouncing puck. Cation pinches in and the puck gets out and across the line, and that will chase Ryan Barnes back into his own zone. Here is Barnes. Being watched by Kazuris. Just flips it high into the General zone. Generals trying to get it out, and they do. Huge for the Barrie Colts here and for the Oshawa Generals. The Generals have got to be able to regroup here. Kill off this 5-minute major and get organized. Ty Gardner, experienced goaltender, hot coming in, NHL experience, and he's just got off to a bad start here in the first period. Here is Danny Tkachuk moving in now. Tkachuk trying to split the defense. Can't do it. Still has it, though. Cross ice. Joel Dezaine too far for him. Generals chop at it and get it out. Skula. Dzane, the big shot for the Barrie Colts from the blue line. Shot in, Tkachuk takes Baxter. Svitky takes the puck. It's out there with Michael Henrich. Cycle down low. Henrich has it now. First round draft pick of the Edmonton Oilers. Still has it. Svitky. Tkachuk tried to work the give and go. Couldn't get a good shot away though. Here's Martin Skula. 3:05 to go in the man advantage for the Colts. Here is Svitky. Fakes the shot into the corner. Centered out in front. Bounced over the stick of Svitky. Skula will keep it in for the Colts. Winds, fires, hit a skate. Svitky with a chance right across the crease. Kept in. Joel Dzane winds, fires, glove save. Garner got a piece of it. Svitky knocked down. No penalty. McMillan takes a hit. Tkachuk retaliates, and that is going to cost him. Bill Brisniak let the first hit go, and then when Dan Tkachuk came back with a cross-check, he got caught.
2 hits started this, and obviously Daniel Tkachuk ends up taking the last of the last and getting caught. But certainly 8 minutes into this game, we've seen at times both teams being undisciplined, and if that's the path that this game will take, then we might be in for a bit of a seesaw battle.
This is a Kyprios game.
I didn't get caught though.
That's true. You did.
Come on, Daniel.
Jeff McMillan got away with a cross-check. Daniel Tkachuk did not. And a major penalty to the Oshawa Generals. Probably one reason they were shorthanded, that Bill Brisniak had his whistle in his pocket for that, but not for the second one. So Tkachuk is off. 4-on-4 hockey for the next.
Certainly if Oshawa can come through this 5-minute major, not getting burned by it, then they can try to get their game to settle down a little bit, get their skating game going. They're a very, very, very good skating club. They need to get their feet moving and start to establish a bit of a forechecking game and get themselves back in this thing. 12 minutes and 22 seconds to go here in the first period. Colts on top by the score of 2-0. Here's Sheldon Keefe through the legs for Mike Jefferson. Jefferson hooked from behind by Kevin Cawley. Carries on. Gillis bumps him, but Jefferson still has it. Mike Jefferson up top. Keefe with a shot, and that one didn't get through as Gillis blocked that before it could get to the net. Andre Lacos for the Colts, being watched by Brett Grosbro. Gets it over to Chris File. File. Long pass for Keefe. Too far for him. Gillis gets there first. Kept in by Andre Lacos. He takes a bump. Generals control. Trying to get it out, and they do. Here's Cawley. Played on the U.S. junior team in the Worlds last year. Grew up not too far from here in Collingwood, Ontario. Here's a chance now for Tetzlaff. Drop back to Zane. Couldn't get the shot away. Baxter takes him into the corner. Passmore and Tetzlaff. Spence in there as well. Cleared but not out. Joel Dzane has it. Cross ice to Martin Skula. Skula winds, fires. Garner the save. Spence will try and get it out, and does, to center ice. Colts keeping the pressure on. Crowd every time Joel Dzane sets up, Nick, they want to see this guy unleash that cannon of a shot. So far, Barrie's done a good job of getting the puck back to the point and letting the skilled players like Martin Skula and, of course, Joel Dzane with that big shot unload.
Here is Skula now. The Colts with the man advantage for the next 29 seconds. Tkachuk is out of the penalty box and on the ice, and he is offside. Takes a bump from Ralph, and that is the way it is. Let's take a look now at our top prospect, brought to you by Mastercard, the official card of the Canadian Hockey League. And we have mentioned this guy's name before, and I think you'll hear it called, what, June 26th in Boston, Nick?
And it shouldn't take much more than, what, 20 minutes at the most to call his name. Definitely a guy that should go in the top 5. Does everything extremely well. Real strong on the puck. And there's nothing finer than a guy that can bring it all to the table, and that's certainly Schwitzky.
Here's Daniel Tkachuk centering it out in front. Brian Allen back on the ice for the Generals. There's a shot at Dzane. Had it go into the corner as it went off a General stick, but the Colts control it. Time winding down on the power play. Dzane, one-time shot. Garner the save. Off the glass, Henrich has it. The penalty is over. Both teams at even strength. There's a shot. Garner snags it and holds onto it. 10:09 to go here in the first period. It's been a rough one, and rough for this guy. His team is down by the score of 2-0.
Well, we certainly know what top rookies mean to the OHL. Sheldon Keefe, of course, having a tremendous year. Barrie Colts, another guy that the Oshawa Generals count on very much, that had a very good year. Of course, John Kuzeris, and he's definitely the type of guy that come late in the game, you know, John Goodwin will have this guy on the ice.
Now, Nick, you remember that at least 3-4 weeks ago I said that Sheldon Keefe was going to be the Rookie of the Year. You didn't write it down, so you didn't believe me, but you'll see.
The ever so controversial Kevin Quinn.
Ah, yeah. 116 points. I think it's a lock. 9:44 to go here in the first period. Mike Christian has both Barrie goals. He's out on the ice right now. Generals get it out. Here is Brandon Coulter at center ice. Loose puck controlled by Katsuris. Checked by Smith. Behind the net it goes. Andre Lakos comes up with it for the Colts. He'll send it over to Ed Hill, number 7, the big guy. One of the top prospects in the OHL. Baxter, Spence fires it in. Race for it. Hill gets there first, takes a bump, gives it to Christian. He gets hit. Govro takes him into the boards. Battle for it. Still loose. Govro trying to get a shot away. Peters does, but it goes wide and all the way down the ice. Spence will get it there. He's out there with Ilya Demidov. Demidov pass for Cauley too far. Dzane picks it up. Skula will fire it in. Wide of the target. Again, contact as Barnes takes his man. Dzane with a shot. Blocked, goes into the corner. Demidov trying to get it out. Can't do it. Spence will try his luck. Long pass for Kevin Cauley. Nicely broken up by Joel Dzane, and he'll fire it back in with 8 minutes, 28 seconds to go in the first. Keith and Passmore collide.
Barrie doing a much better job than Oshawa, getting the puck in deep and establishing a forecheck game, causing loose turnovers, just like that one right there.
Shot by Skula. There's a chance from another tough angle, but it worked once. Why not try it again? And that's what Ryan Barnes was thinking. Generals do get it out and relieve the pressure. Shots on goal so far, 10-1 in favor of the Colts. Here is Sheldon Keefe. McMillan takes him out. Allen is there. Takes a bump for Jefferson, puts an elbow down, and Jefferson is still down and getting up slowly. Mike Jefferson, watch for him. He has had some problems with suspensions.
18 to be exact this season, and I tell you what, if Mike Jefferson was playing in the NHL, he'd be playing for free.
Pay as you play. Here's a long pass. Henrich with a shot, and Garner makes the save. Allen tries to get it out. Kutchuk will keep it in. Here is Dennis Schwitke trying to get it back to Henrich. Can't do it. McMillan comes away for the Generals and just gets it down the ice. And Vander Clark will hang on to it. 7:24 to go here in the first period. The Colts dominating early. They have the lead, but it hasn't been easy. The price you pay in the playoffs. Of course, all these playoffs lead to the big prize, and that is the Memorial Cup, and you'll see it right here exclusively on CTV Sportsnet and the full CTV network starting on May 15th. And Bruce McNichol on the left, Jamie Massey on the right. The gentlemen wearing jackets would love, Nick, to make that trip to Ottawa in May.
Well, they certainly got to like the start of this game. Of course, their team up 2-0 early, but I'm sure they'll hold their breath the rest of the way.
And, of course, the road to the Memorial Cup for the Barrie Colts is a tough one. They have to possibly meet Ottawa in the Eastern Conference Championship. Many people have called for that. For them to get there, they've got to win the OHL Championship. Cation will keep it in for the Colts. Out in front, Generals get away with it. Here is Brandon Coulter now. Coulter trying to get around File, does. There's a chance right in front, they score! The Generals get on the board. Beautiful goal and a great effort. And the Generals, with only their fourth shot on net, solve Ben Vander Glock. Brandon Coulter, what an effort.
Give Brandon Coulter all the credit in the world with staying with this puck. just out of his reach. He gets it back. And what a great finish.
Drew Bucktooth gets the goal on the backhand.
2 great efforts.
Doesn't score many, but that was a big one.
Brandon Coulter with a tremendous pass, finding Bucktooth down the middle, and both players showing a lot of poise. And of course, Bucktooth finishing it off, getting his club back in this hockey game.
2-1 is the score with 6:49 now to go here in the first period. It was all Barrie, but the Generals fight back. Only 4 shots on net, but they only trail by 1 on the score sheet. Joel Desane, pass up the middle to Barnes. That was intercepted. The Colts carry on, though. Here is Martin Skula. Skula in there with Barnes. Spence takes him. Barnes ridden off the puck by Kevin Cawley. Generals trying to get it out. Can't do it. Joel Desane winds, fires the shot, and Garner made the save. And Cawley takes Barnes into the boards. Fans want a penalty, don't get it. Flying around is Sheldon Keefe. Here is Gobro trying to get around him. Can't do it. Generals trying to get it out and do. Here is Kevin Cawley. Cawley crosses the blue line, hangs onto it. He's got Spence in front. Nicely sent away there by Skula. Back come the Colts. Here is Dennis Schwitke. He's got Keefe cutting for the net. Schwitke with a shot. Kept in by the Colts. Gobro waiting behind his own net. He'll set it up. Gives it to the captain, Brian Allen. 4th overall last year at the draft, taken by the Vancouver Canucks. Chris File shoots it back in. Mike Christian right on net again. Garner had to be sharp as he made the save. Here is Peters. Colts once again dominating. Territorial. Christian just shoots it in. Garner will leave it there for Jeff McMillan. McMillan off the glass and out. File will touch it, and that will be icing. The Generals losing the battles, but so far close in the war. It's a 2-1 hockey game.
NHL Tuesday night hockey with a special edition Friday, April 9th. Detroit and St. Louis. We get a crack at seeing Chris Chelios and Vander Clark take on Pierre Turgeon and the St. Louis Blues.
There's the hero of the moment in this game. That is Mike Christian. 2 goals so far as the Colts have a 2-1 lead. 4 minutes and 56 seconds to go here in the first. Brian Allen cut earlier in the game, back in action. Tkachuk spinning in the neutral zone. Baxter with a pass there to Repnev. Repnev hangs onto it. Centering pass, and Upton was right there, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Back come the Colts and with a head of steam. Here is Dennis Schwitke. Schwitke moving in with Tkachuk. He's knocked off his pins, and Allen goes down again. Big collision, and Brian Allen is paying the price up there in playoff hockey. But Dennis Schwitke, boy, when he gets a head of steam.
That's something that the Oshawa Generals don't want to see, is guys like Schwitke and this man here, Daniel Tkachuk, coming through the neutral zone with a lot of speed, because these are the type of guys that can burn you.
Now the Flames' first overall pick in '97 went 6th overall, but there is a little bit of money matters involved with him becoming a Calgary Flame.
Not only is he playing for a Memorial Cup, but he is also playing for a contract with the Calgary Flames. And if Calgary's smart, they will get him signed before the draft in June, or else he will go back and become eligible.
Here's Schwitke now.
99.
Schwitke with Henrich in the net. Here Schwitke still has it. Back pass. Up top. There's a shot. Misses the target. Came right back out in front as Joel Desane let it go. 4 minutes to go in this first period. Shots on goal continue to be dominated by the Colts. 13-6 right now. Here is Joel Desane. Flips it on net. Garner with the easy save. Puts it into the corner.
Barrie, again, doing a terrific job of getting the puck towards the net. We've already seen a goal come about it. And so far what we've seen is a lot of turnovers just off of simple dumps. That's one thing Oshawa has yet to establish.
Here they come. Demidov trying to split the defense, gets a shot away, and Vander Clark will make the save, and he's going to hang on to it for the faceoff in the Barrie zone. Welcome back to the Barrie Molson Center. The faceoff in the Colts zone. Kevin Quinn along with Nick Kiprios. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. The Colts and the Generals. Peters went for the puck, but he lost his stick as Mike Christian relieved him of it. Here's Andre Lakos trying to get around Peters. He does. Lakos will flip it in. Garner the save. And he'll play it around the boards. Takes a wild hop, kept in by Christian. Now the Generals will get it out. Here is Ralph. He'll shoot it in. Bouncing puck, and Vander Glock decides to hang on to it.
Well, this man's only seen 7 shots up until this point, and I'm sure one of the game plans for Oshawa coming into this contest was testing him early, and so far they haven't done that. And I'm sure Coach Goodwin will address that for the rest of the game.
Well, Ben Vander Glock, of course, people might forget that when Brian Findlay was over playing in the Worlds in Winnipeg, this guy carried the load for 8 games and did a pretty good job. Face
Well,
off.
no question in Bert Templeton's mind and the rest of the teammates that he can come in and do a job, but it's just a question now of proving it.
7-1 over that span, but as you mentioned, a regular season span. Now it's the playoffs. Tetzlaff trying to set it out in front, bouncing puck. Chris File has it. Brian Findlay operated on this week, the broken finger in his blocker hand. He is listed as day-to-day. They'll reevaluate. Brian Allen takes his man out.
Great open hit by Brian Allen. And that's something that the Barrie Colts will be seeing a lot of, as he will log a lot of minutes.
He's a big guy, and he hit Jeff Tetzlaff. And again,
See that hit again?
Andrew Peters and Chris File also talking to each other. Look at Brian Allen.
I got a chance to talk to Brian Allen before the game, and he still is unsigned with Vancouver. And judging on how the Oshawa Generals will go throughout the playoffs, if in fact they get eliminated, there's a very good chance you might see Brian Allen up with Vancouver if they have any games left.
And it's winding down. Hampered by a shoulder injury. Face-off in the General zone. Dobro from the draw. The Colts can't keep it in. 2 minutes, 23 seconds to go here in the first period. Here is Brian Allen now. Crosses the blue line. Drop pass for Brent Dobro. Centering pass. Picked off. And back they come the other way. Here's Barney to Jefferson with a head of steam. Here is Mike Jefferson moving in. Jefferson, cross-ice pass for Barnes, but he couldn't get his stick down. There's a shot. And Garner had it all the way. Zane puts it out in front. Barnes right there. He takes a crack at it. And Garner made the save there. So this line showing some speed. Flipped in. There is Sheldon Keefe. A loose puck. Jefferson battling with Allen. Cleared but not out. Skula will keep it in for the Colts. Right out in front it goes. And there's a save by Ty Garner, and he's going to hang on to it. But you can see what speed will do for you. It creates those offensive opportunities.
It causes havoc for this man right here. He's certainly seen a lot of it in the first 19 minutes here in the first period.
Originally taken by the New York Islanders. 4th pick, 83rd overall in '96. Now finds himself property of the Calgary Flames.
Did see action up there for a while as Calgary battled goaltending woes at Christmas time. Started the year in the American Hockey League. Ended up coming back with the Oshawa Generals for his overage year. And sure enough, just when you think you're down and out, boom, you're in the NHL.
Yeah, played a month in December. Dozen games.
And he's looking forward to September already. A training camp where the goaltending continues to be a question mark for Calgary, and he's looking forward to battling for a job.
There he makes the save off Michael Henrich from point-blank range with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go here in the first period. Nice move there by Brad Ralph. Brad Ralph, he'll be draft eligible in '99. Currently leading his team in playoff scoring. Vander Clark fires it into the corner. Henrich ridden off the puck by Ralph. Allows the Generals to get it out. Skula. Dennis Schwitke. Schwitke takes a bump as he fires it in. Garner is there, trying to clear it around the boards, and does to Ralph. Less than a minute to go now. 2-1 the score for the Colts here in the first period. The rookie Vander Clark seeing his first action in the postseason. Govro takes a bump from Martin Skula. Upton and Tkachuk in there as well, but Bill Frisniak will whistle that one down, and we'll have a face-off with 44.2 seconds to go here in the first.
Take a good look at Martin Skula, first-round draft choice of the Colorado Avalanche.
And coming up in our first intermission, we'll go around the CHL, all the postseason action. We'll get you caught up, and we'll have our play of the period as well. Stick around for that, coming up in 44.2 seconds. Sheldon Keefe, top scoring rookie in the OHL this year, has the puck now. Here is Keefe, trying to use that superior speed, and he does get around McMillan, then takes a bump. Puck is loose. Back up top. Chris Feil has it now. Finds a shot. There's a deflection right on, and Garner made the save as Barnes did a good job of getting a stick on it, and Garner did an even better job of making the save.
And once again, Sheldon Keefe doing a good job at just getting the puck in deep. You know, he's coming in with speed in the neutral zone, and he's smart enough to get the puck in deep. And what happens with a dump in? A turnover. Puck comes back to Chris Feil. All he does is get it on goal, and anything can happen. As Mike Christian can certainly attest to that with his goal from behind the goal line.
So Garner has settled down a little bit here. He got stung early by a couple of quick goals. Shots on goal, though, still favoring the Colts 16-7. Time winding down here. 15 seconds to go. Generals trying to get it out for one last rush. Race for the puck. McMillan will get there first. McMillan centering pass. Vander Glock hangs onto it. And there's 6.4 seconds to go.
Well, it looks like the Oshawa Generals will come out of this period only down by a goal. Certainly outplayed this first period. Shots on goal 16-7, favoring the Barrie Colts. And on top of that, they had the 5-minute major to deal with. And they got to do a better job of doing that, getting the puck on goal and letting Vander Clark start fighting the puck a little bit. He certainly hasn't been tested this period for a guy that I'm sure came in with a lot of butterflies. The man of the hour, replacing, of course, Ryan Findlay, one of the top goaltenders available in the draft. Certainly got to feel good about his period. Not much work.
Face-off coming up to the left of the goaltender Vander Glock as time winds down. Here's a chance for Allen. One last shot, and that one ends up hitting the glass in the restaurant on the second deck here at the Barrie Molson Center. That's like equivalent of hitting the windows at Sky Dome. There you go. Well, the glass stood the test, and the fans.
I tell you what, too, with Brian Allen shooting the puck, he's not known for his offensive stats, but one thing he does have is a great heavy shot, and we'll look for that as this game progresses.
So 20 minutes in the book. The Barrie Colts on the 2 goals by Michael Christian have the lead. Vander Clark has weathered the storm so far, but there's plenty of action still to come.
Around the CHL. Brought to you by Bauer.
From the Barrie Molson Center, it's the Colts 2 and the Oshawa Generals 1 after one period of play. And Brof, as one of our production people said earlier, the Oshawa Generals lead the Colts 17-12 in stitches, because that was a rough beginning, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly was. You know, the Oshawa Generals proposed that they were going to come out and try to knock the Barrie Colts off their game by trying to get under their skin. Well, they cut through the skin, and there was a lot of bloodshed in the first couple of minutes of the game, but the Barrie Colts really buried the Generals early. Give Oshawa credit, though. They got a late goal, and they're still in this hockey game.
2-1 is the score after one period of play. Let's tell you about what else is going on around the Canadian Hockey League, specifically the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. The Halifax Mooseheads, their story has ended for this season. They have been upset and eliminated by the Acadie Bathurst Tetons. The Tetons beat them today by a score of 5-2 with 2 goals from Ramsey Abid, singles from Philippe Plante, Gregor Baumgartner, and Martin Filion. The final score 5-2, and so Acadie Bathurst wins this series 4-1, and they will move on, and they will play the winner of the Quebec-Rimouski series. Quebec in a bit of trouble themselves. They beat Rimouski today 3-2, but they still trail that series by 3-2. In the LaBelle division, these games are underway this evening. In the first period, is Shawinigan leading Hull 1-0. The Olympique lead the series 3-1, and Sherbrooke leads Rouyn-Noranda by a score of 1-0 in the first period. Brof, got to be a big disappointment for the people of Halifax. They pack that arena night in and night out, and then they get eliminated. And they're the 7th-ranked team in the country.
Well, the Halifax Mooseheads had a great season this year, and you know what? When they look back on this series, they're going to know that a complete lack of discipline cost them. In one game in the series, they lost 7-1. Heading into the third period, they had taken 13 minor penalties. And when you're playing against a team like Acadie Bathurst with a power play and the firepower that they have, you can't have a steady parade to the penalty box, and that really cost them.
So Halifax eliminated. That's the story from the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. The story from the Western Hockey League when we return. After one period of play in Barrie, it's the Colts 2 and the Oshawa Generals 1. The Generals trying to fight back. More in a moment. Coming up on Friday, it's a special edition of Tuesday Night Hockey. Hockey Central kicks it off at 7 o'clock. It's the Detroit Red Wings and the St. Louis Blues. Let's talk about the Western Hockey League now. One game to tell you about tonight. It's Kelowna and Kamloops in the Western Conference quarterfinals, and let's show you what's going on in that one. Actually, the game has yet to begin. It's the only game slated for tonight, and the Blazers lead that series 3-2 in the Western Conference quarterfinals. Also in the Western Conference Monday night, it's Seattle and Prince George, with the Thunderbirds leading the series 3-2. And we've also got the Tri-City Americans and Portland no longer playing because the Americans have won that series in 4 straight games. Now, in the Eastern Conference, these series are all completed. Red Deer and Brandon, the Rebels, win it 4-1. Swift Current and Moose Jaw, the Warriors, win it 4-2. Also, in the Eastern Conference, Kootenay and Calgary, this one went 7 games. The Hitmen finally win it in 7, 4-3. And Lethbridge, Prince Albert, the Raiders win that series in 4 games straight. And so, Brof, Calgary, they finally did it, but it took them a while, didn't it? You figured they had to win that series.
You know, for those of us who thought it was going to be a cakewalk in the first round, welcome back to earth. You know, the Calgary Hitmen are a great hockey team, but they got taken to 7 games. It was a real homer series, and if they're to take anything out of the series right now, they've got to feel good about the fact they won the game, Game 7, in outstanding fashion, 8-3, so maybe they're back on their game.
So as a result of those quarterfinal matches in the Eastern Conference in the WHL, we know what the semifinal matchups will be. And so let's take a look and set that up for you. It will be Red Deer and Calgary. The 3rd-ranked Hitmen will host the first game of that series. That one is Monday at 7 o'clock. And Moose Jaw will take on Prince Albert. That game will also go Monday. That's at 7:30 Central Time. Now, you have to wonder, I guess, Calgary winning that final game so big, does that mean that they're home and cooled out and now they'll cruise perhaps or not?
Well, I'm certain Calgary fans feel that way, but the fact of the matter is the Red Deer Rebels have a lot of firepower. People talk about Calgary and their great offense. Red Deer has some players. Sean McNeil leads the Western League playoffs in scoring right now. 7 goals, 7 assists in 5 games, and we all know what Pavel Brendel can do. This kid led the Western League in goal scoring during the regular season. He scored 5 goals in 5 games, and I would say the best is yet to come from him.
Red Deer and Calgary, that series getting underway Monday. By next Sunday, they will be to Game 5, and that is the game that we will have for you if necessary. If not, well, we'll be somewhere else. But this is the one we're planning for, folks, the Rebels and the Hitmen, next Sunday night on CHL Sunday. The second intermission is coming your way. After the second period, we'll have Bauer around the CHL, upsets from the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, as we've touched on, and Mike Brophy will be back with his analysis. The score from the Molson Center in Barrie. The Barrie Colts 2 and the Oshawa Generals 1. The second period when we return.
Around the CHL. has been brought to you by Bauer. Leave an impression.
Here at the Barrie Molson Center, the Colts have the lead 2-1. But one of the bright lights for the Oshawa Generals is here now, and it's Brad Ralph. And Brad, tell me about that first period. They got a couple of quick goals even before, you guys really got into your rhythm.
Yeah, they came out hard. I mean, I think the home ice advantage really helped them out a lot. We got a couple lucky power plays, and they capitalized. So, I mean, we're going to come out hard in the second. Hopefully things will turn out a little better.
Let's talk about your run in the playoffs. You were the leading scorer in that first series against the Peterborough Petes. Everything going your way. What was the secret?
I think the team really played real well. I mean, I worked hard, the team worked hard, and things just happened to go my way.
All right, well, good luck in the second period and the rest of the playoffs.
Thanks a lot.
All right, time now to take a look at our Coho first period stats, brought to you by Coho, makers of the 2280 skate, designed with Coho's unique ankle fit system. And Mike Christian, the story early on, as he got a goal with 1:09 in, and then on the power play from the tough angle, but Drew Bucktooth came back and got the goal on a great setup by Brandon Coulter. Barrie Colts out shooting the Oshawa Generals, who haven't won at the Molson Center so far this year, but you got to look at it from a general standpoint that they kind of survived that first period.
Well, especially killing the 5-minute major. Again, they wanted to come out and establish a physical game. They're a big, strong team, but they didn't do it playing smart. They did it with taking some bad penalties. They're only down 2-1, so they're very much in this hockey game and very lucky for it.
Very impressed by Brian Allen, the captain of the Oshawa Generals. Here is a guy that you can see why he earns that first-round pick. It was our first look at him, and we can see why the Canucks were so high on him in '98.
Tremendous amount of poise. This guy does everything so well. I played with a player that was similar to that, Rod Langway. Incredibly smart defensively, shows incredible poise, and you want the puck out of your end, Brian Allen's the guy to do it.
And you got to feel good for Vander Clark as well, as he weathered the storm in the first period. The fans are happy. Their team is up 2-1. We're coming back with the second period from the Barrie Molson Center right after this. The play of the first period is brought to you by AutoPro for mechanical and collision, the largest network of automotive professionals. And it comes off the stick of Brandon Coulter. Look at the work he does to set up Drew Bucktooth. The Generals were down 2-1 until Bucktooth got the goal and brought his team to within one. It's the play of the period, but there's more to come here from the Barrie Molson Center on CHL Sunday night.
CHL Sunday night on CTV Sportsnet. Brought to you by Canadian Tire, still the right place. By Chrysler, a proud sponsor of Major Junior Hockey.
Welcome back, everyone, to a jammed-packed Barrie Molson Center. 20 minutes of hockey in the books, and the home team has the lead 2-1. And Mike Christian is the guy that supplied the offense in that first period. Ben Vander Glock, the rookie goaltender, getting his first start, facing 7 shots in that first period. Only the goal by Drew Bucktooth. A blemish on his record, 16 shots faced by Ty Garner. Here is Tetzlaff, centering pass is picked off by Brad Ralph. Tetzlaff will get it back. The checking line out there, and all of a sudden this checking line, Nick, has become the offensive force for the Colts.
Certainly another dimension added to Bert Templeton's lineup. Of course, you've got 2 great lines in Tkachuk and Jefferson. Now all of a sudden Nick Smith and his line mates are a threat.
Of course, we talked about the offense, but they're also sticking their nose in there as well. As Coulter goes down, that was File all over top of him, and that has been the story of the first period. It carries on here in the second. And there you have it, Mike Christian. He got off the goal at 1:09, and then he got another goal on the power play. And look at that line, and then Nick Smith continues to battle anywhere he can. But it was Christian who got it done early on.
And as we watch the goals, you're seeing players doing simple things, and that's cycling the puck down low and then eventually taking it to the net. Of course, Christian with a second effort there, just reading off of each other, making the simple plays, and sometimes the easiest play, getting the puck to the net, is your best play.
And at the other end, look at Brandon Coulter with a nice setup to Drew Bucktooth. That came at 13:08. Baxter also getting an assist. And that's where we stand here early in the second period. The Colts on top by 1. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. Kevin Quinn along with Nick Kiprios.
And so far this game belongs to the unsung heroes, not the superstars.
All right, it's in the neutral ice. Here is Bucktooth losing it to Schmidtke. McMillan back on the line with Ryan Allen. Allen passed to Bucktooth, too far for him. Joel Dezane will pick it up for the Colts. Generals get it back in. Is up to knock down, and they still manage to get the puck into the Colts zone. Colts coming back. Here is Schmidtke trying to get around Baxter. Sent it up top. Joel Dezane winds, fires, and Garner makes the save. Every time Joel Dezane gets ready to shoot, you feel the buzz in the building because this guy can wire it.
And how about that strong play by Dennis Schmidtke along the boards? Great pass out, knew exactly where he was going. And of course, Dezane with that howitzer. Garner having to be equal to the task with a good save there. But again, you talk about Dennis Schmidtke and what he brings to the table. Tremendous speed, strong on the puck, and making a heads-up pass.
From the face-off, Generals come away with it. Here is Kevin Cawley. Cawley out there with Passmore. Off the boards it goes, loose in front. Generals looking for the equalizer. Keith coming back for the Colts to Mike Jefferson. Jefferson with a head of steam. Here's Jefferson cutting for the net. Still has it with a shot, and Garner again has to be sharp. He made the save, and Sheldon Keefe was right there. Speed putting pressure on the Generals' defense. And Mike Jefferson coming up with a great opportunity.
Again, this line all year has been doing it with their speed and their tenacity. And here Jefferson with a great burst of speed on the outside, getting a great scoring opportunity.
Mike Jefferson, game number 4 against the Kingston Frontenacs. Got involved in an altercation, was suspended for game 5, but is back in the lineup. And John Goodwin not too happy about that. Peters flips it in. Coulter and Cation collide behind the net. Peters in there as well, but it's Sean Cation who comes up with the puck and gets it to Jeff Tetzlaff off his stick. Spence. Cross ice pass, and that bounced around and away from Brandon Coulter. Peters will try and keep it in. Here is Richard Spence. Generals Demidov shoots it in. Vander Clark tries to slow it down. Comes around behind the net. Chris File is there battling with Brad Ralph and Peters. And they'll get a whistle. Let's take a look at our Auto Pro plus minus. And first of all, Chris File again involved. And you're getting a up close and personal view of a punch right there.
Also involved, Andrew Peters is in there. Big, strong left winger. Draft choice of the Buffalo Sabres in the second round. And you know, he's going to see a lot more ice time now that Richard Scott's out of the lineup. And you talk about that 5-minute major. Sure, they killed it off, but for the rest of the game, of course, they lose Richard Scott, who's an integral part of the Oshawa lineup.
Take a look at our Auto Pro plus minus, and the Oshawa Generals, Ilya Demidov leading the way. Andrew Peters, we talked about him, +5.
And I talked to Joe Sorella for this big contest tonight. He says Demidov has been outstanding against Peterborough.
And in the playoffs, Martin Skula and Tim Verbeek, who we haven't seen on the ice. He And Skula at +6.
Of course, Skula all season long doing it in the plus-minus. +56 for the year. And again, he's getting the job done here in the playoffs.
Here's File and Peters going at it in the boards, and then the whistle blows, and then the inevitable pushing and shoving, and we have that great ringside cam right there to show it to you.
Everyone battling for every inch that they can get.
So roughing the penalties, of course. Both guys will sit for a couple of minutes. Both teams will skate 5-on-5. There's Joel Dezane. Cross-ice pass for Michael Henrich. A little bit too far for him, but Henrich will carry on. Henrich in the corner. Still has it, centering it out in front, and it comes all the way up to Joel Dezane, who has to wait for his teammates to get onside. Shot in. Baxter will go back and pick it up for the Generals. Here is Jim Baxter, draft pick of the Boston Bruins, in a similar situation to the captain of the Colts, Dennis Tkachuk, in terms of signing a contract. Henrich picks it up behind the net, up for Dennis Schwitke. Schwitke, long pass for Daniel Tkachuk, and that one crossed 2 lines. 16:28 to go here in the second period. The Colts on top by the score of 2-1. John Goodwin and his troops hanging in.
Head coach of the Oshawa Generals, John Goodwin, in his second season as the head coach. And of course, he follows the footsteps of some tremendous coaches and a great history in the Oshawa Generals. The latest one, Bill Stewart, head coach now of the New York Islanders.
4 Memorial Cups to the credit of the Oshawa Generals. The first one, 1939.
That's the same year your car, isn't it?
Here you go, vintage. Colts keeping it in. Here is Allen behind the net. Round to McMillan. He'll try and get it out for the Generals. Colts keeping the pressure on. Sheldon Keefe in there, battling for it. Gets it to Mike Jefferson behind the net. Barnes is there, bangs away at it. Paddled down, saved by Ty Garner, and here comes Passmore with a chance. Dezane, what a play from his belly. Stop the rush.
Great recovery by Dezane as he lost his footing in the neutral zone. Certainly stayed with it.
Allen, round behind the net it goes. Bouncing puck. Sheldon Keefe will pick it up for the Colts. Long pass for Joel Dezane, too far for him, and he'll head to the bench. Jim Baxter. Outlets to Kevin Cawley. Cawley flips it in. Passmore all tied up. He takes out Vander Clark. Lacos had him, and then he took out Vander Clark. Ty Garner will leave it there. Christian almost benefited from that miscommunication. Christian has it again. Another shot from the tough angle. This time Garner says no dice. That's where he scored from the last time. And the Generals just get it down the ice, but Garner and his defensemen, little miscommunication and that kind of thing can cost you, especially with a guy like Mike Christian right on the doorstep. Generals, Brandon Cullen takes a bump, fires it in. Brad Ralph is there, centering it out. Cullen trying to get a shot away, and that one goes wide.
Oshawa starting to do a better job of getting the puck in deep. Just got to put it in places where they can get it back.
There is Spencer behind his net. Takes a bump, and he is flattened by Nick Smith. And that gets a ride out of the Barrie Molson center crowd. Ralph with a shot. Rebound in front. Dezane is there to clear it away.
Nick Smith continuing to impress with all aspects of the game.
Here is Michael Henrich. He has been silent in the playoffs, just 1 point in the postseason.
And certainly he's a guy they'd like to get going once again on the offensive scoring sheet.
Henrich loses his stick. Generals will get it out. Skula ties up Repnev. Henrich takes a bump. Close checking here, and here's Repnev trying to get around Skula, and he's taken down. And that is going to be a penalty as Skula will go off for holding. Repnev trying to get by him, and Skula took him down.
Well, Vladimir Repnev doing a good job of just pushing the puck ahead. Right along the boards right here, and of course Skula putting the lasso on him and perhaps saving a great scoring opportunity as Repnev and Cullen were heading in on a 2-on-1.
Big power play opportunity here for the Oshawa Generals with 13:33 to go in the second period. They're down by 1. 0 for 1 on the power play. Did not get a shot on goal with the man advantage. See what they can do here as Govro goes out to take the draw against Nick Smith. Colts control it and fire it down the ice. As we mentioned in that Kingston series, or the Peterborough series, the power play was clicking on all cylinders for this Oshawa General team. Scored on 9 of 30 attempts, but they almost get caught there. Second best power play in the playoffs after that first round. There's a chance now as Baxter will keep it in. Govro. Down low. Govro has it, waits, wrist shot, that goes off Chris File. Bouncing puck, Blackos is there trying to get it out. Ralph ties him up. Back up top it goes to Allen. Cross to Baxter, cross ice pass, chance there. There's a shot for Colley, but that one was wild and wide. Blackos takes Colley into the boards. Back and forth, good job by the Generals. Baxter with a shot, and Vander Clark had to be sharp there as he made the save. Allen with a chance now, back to Baxter. Baxter, cross ice, deflected in front. That one just wide. Govro has it now. Here's Brett Govro moving in. There's a shot, hit the side of the net. Colley behind the net, centers it out in front. They score! Brad Ralph ties the hockey game.
Great movement by the Oshawa Generals on this power play. Doing a good job of getting the puck back to the point. Then eventually, Brad Ralph, Johnny on the spot in front of the net. And we've got a 2-2 hockey game. Brad Ralph continuing to get the job done here in the playoffs. His 5th goal and 10th point as we got ourselves a 2-2 hockey game. Great job by Kevin Colley, showing good patience behind the net. Waiting for Ralph to establish positioning in front, and Ralph making no mistake.
Well, we talked about the powerful power play of this Oshawa Generals.
And it all starts on the blue line with Allen and Baxter working real well together.
Great puck movement by the Generals, controlling it for them almost the entire 2 minutes. And finally getting for the Oshawa Generals in these playoffs. Colts trying to get it back here. Tied up here, Schwitke with a chance, Schwitke again! And Garner makes the save, and he'll hang on to it. Dennis Schwitke on the doorstep, almost gave his team back the lead. But so far, it's 2-2 here at the Barrie Molson Center. Dennis Schwitke coming awfully close to putting his team back in front here. Schwitke, expect to see him in the NHL soon, and he almost got it by Ty Garner, a guy that has been in the NHL. There is Bert Templeton, the second winningest coach in Canadian Hockey League history, and a man that coached the broadcast partner I'm currently with up in the frozen north of North Bay.
Bert Templeton certainly having his game face on early.
Yeah, he did.
Afternoon.
He turned down our invitation for a little pregame chat.
Well, personally, I think it's something you said.
I guess so. He threw me out of the dressing room a couple of times when I was reporting here. Maybe he remembers. The Generals have fought their way back after being down 2-0. And speaking of fighting, here is Chris Files and Andrew Peters. We saw this one develop. These two guys went for roughing, and now they're going to go for fighting. Peters getting the helmet off of Chris File.
Well, this was brewing earlier in the period, and now they're settling it.
Chris File, property of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Peters trying to get that right hand loose, and he has. Huge uppercuts.
Big blows there on the bench of the Oshawa Generals.
Now I remember why I retired.
There you go. And a victory there.
This is the point of my career right here where I'd be screaming for the Advil.
Well, these guys are just a little bit younger, so they can bounce back. File and Peters will go, though. Bert Templeton, of course, one of the guys that is not afraid to have a tougher team in the lineup. And, well, this one started, as we mentioned a while ago. It was in that same corner, too. They went off for roughing, and they didn't take them long to finally settle it.
And I'll tell you what, Kevin, I'd much rather see them settle their differences that way than how we saw it in the first period with the high sticks.
We saw several players going off, cut with high sticks. Our next game here on a CHL playoff hockey is going to be Red Deer at Calgary, or you'll see Moose Jaw at Prince Albert. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific time as the playoffs roll on here in the CHL, all building towards the Memorial Cup. And the fans here at the Barrie Molson Center hoping their fans will be able to take a trip to Ottawa in May. This is the 4th year for this franchise. They have never missed the playoffs, but last year extremely disappointing as they were knocked off in the second round in 6 games by a much weaker Sudbury Wolves team. They come in as the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, #4 ranked team in the country, and they almost went down 3-2 there as the shot goes over top of the net.
Well, I do believe Kevin Cawley caught the top part of the crossbar there. And within inches, going to put the Oshawa Generals up 3-2.
Here is Govro. Cawley is down low along with Bucktooth, who has one of the goals for the Generals. Drew Bucktooth tied up by Jefferson.
Coming up to a little over the halfway mark of the game, Kevin, and now we're starting to see Oshawa getting their feet moving a little bit. Starting to battle a lot better for loose pucks. Thus, a lot more success here in the second period.
Here is Mike Jefferson. Drop pass for Sheldon Keefe. Weak shot handled easily by Garner. Kevin Cawley coming back the other way. Cawley will shoot it in and then head to the bench. Changes for the Generals as Martin Skula will start out for the Colts. Flipped in. Gillis will get to it first. Trevor Gillis. 6'2", 207 pounds. Sends it out to center. Andre Lakos will just try and flip it back in, but can't do it. Here is Brad Ralph. Centering pass for Baxter, hit a skate and ended up at center ice. Here's a race for it now as Petzlaff forces Garner to come way out of his net. Plays it smartly along the boards. And the Generals get it out. Under 10 minutes to go here in the second period. We're tied at 2. Smith will keep it in. Tetzlaff. This line continues to grind it out. Jim Baxter right up the middle. Ralph couldn't get it out. Baxter will try it again. This time he does get it out. Lakos. His pass knocked down and sent back in, and Ed Hill will touch it, and that will be icing against the Generals, who, Nick, have certainly picked up the pace here in the second period and showed why they started slow against Peterborough and then dominated, won that 5th game and the series. They won it 9-1 against a #5 ranked seed in the Eastern Conference. It was a 4 versus a 5, but it certainly wasn't like that when you looked at the games and how much they were dominated.
Well, again, Oshawa's game is speed and playing a physical aspect, and they have settled down in that. We've already seen a much better effort in terms of being smarter, picking your spots, when to finish checks. And of course, they're led by Brian Allen. We saw that great open ice hit earlier in the period, and he set the stage here in the second period. And we got ourselves a 2-2 hockey game.
Here's a long pass for Kazuras, too far for him. Lakos is there, he loses his footing. Generals will keep it in. Cullen tried to let a shot go, instead he knocked down Dennis Schwitke. And the Colts do get it out. Momentum shifting towards the Oshawa Generals. This one is shot into the crowd, and that is a playoff souvenir with just over 9 minutes to go here in the second period. The Generals and the Colts are locked up at 2-2 here at the Barrie Molson Center. Every player on the ice wants to be a part of this tournament. The Memorial Cup that comes your way exclusively on CTV Sportsnet and the full CTV network. You'll see it May 15th to 23rd. But you don't have to wait that long for great hockey. Special Friday night edition, April 9th. The Red Wings are in the Kiel Center in St. Louis to take on the Blues. Right now the fans want their Barrie Colts to pick up the pace. Jumped out to an early 2-0 lead and have seen that evaporate. Here are the Generals again. And Nick, you wonder about the goaltending. A guy that has won 36 games in the regular season, Brian Findlay. What a difference he could make.
Well, again, you talk about overcoming obstacles and battling adversity on your way to a championship. There's no bigger test for the Barrie Colts than trying to do it now with Ben Vander Clark.
Here is Upton. Flips it in. Generals will make changes, and Ed Hill will start out for the Colts. Hill, watched by Govro, just flips it in. There's Brian Allen. Passmore. Crosses the line. Here's Passmore. 2-on-1. Passmore with a shot. He scores! He waited, used Kevin Colley as a screen. But Passmore, Brian, has the go-ahead goal.
Well, if we've watched this develop before the blue line, it was Brent Govro who made the play before the blue line to set up the 2-on-1. Allen makes the pass up here, and right there, that little backhand pass to Passmore establishes the 2-on-1, and then a quick release to the blocker side beats Vander Clark. And the Barrie Colts see a 2-0 lead disappear as Oshawa now has a 3-2 lead.
And a great job by Brian Passmore to use Colley as a decoy and then snap home the go-ahead goal.
Terrific job by Brent Govro to establish that 2-on-1 and send Passmore in.
Here is Passmore again. He and Colley working it. Colley trying to get around the defense. Does. Here is Passmore. McMillan cutting from the net. Passmore still has it. Centering it out in front. Oh! Colley came mighty close there, but Vander Glock made the save.
Now we're starting to see the speed that Oshawa General has had throughout the first 5 games in their opening round against the Peterborough Petes. And the Barrie Colts now seem to be having a bit of trouble.
Desane with a shot, and he just missed the target. Loose in front, and a penalty coming up to the Generals as Jefferson hits the deck. So the Colts will have a chance with the man advantage. Let's take a look at the goal that has given the Generals the lead, and look at the patience of Brian Passmore.
2 great plays in the neutral zone established this man right here to come in on a 2-on-1. And Passmore uses Colley as a decoy and lets a great shot go stick side.
Jeff McMillan is in the box, 2 minutes for holding. And here's a great chance for the Colts to get back into this one. 1 for 2 on the power play. 2 shots in their last power play. 5 total with the man advantage. Barnes out there to take the draw. Generals control it, cleared. Desane at the point. He let a super hard shot go and just missed the target. Behind the net, here is Jefferson. Back up top, Sean Cation is there. Mike Jefferson. Jefferson winds, fires, and Garner makes the save. Shots on goal continuing to favor the Colts, 22-13, but Ty Garner has certainly settled down in the nets for the Generals.
Good movement here on the power play, enabling Jefferson to step in and take a pretty good quality shot. Those are the things the Barrie Colts need to continue to do on this power play.
Mike Jefferson will take the draw for the Colts. Won by the Generals. Baxter controls it, tries to get it out, and does. 1:33 to go in the man advantage for the Colts. Weird hop! Garner, there's a chance. Keith with a shot. He put it over the top of the net. Oh!
Strange turn of events there.
Garner had to be sharp. And he was. Here is Sean Cation now. Back to Joel DeZane. DeZane to Jefferson. Down low. Sheldon Keith still has it. Keith, there's a shot, and that will end up as a souvenir as it hits the clock. But oh, the old home ice bounce almost fooled Ty Garner.
And it's not very often you see Sheldon Keith miss from that spot. And this man here had to be awfully sharp as we see this puck ricochet off the glass right on goal. And here's Keith to pick up the rebound, and he just fired it over the net. And that's something we haven't seen Sheldon Keith do too often during the regular season.
1:06 to go in the penalty to Jeff McMillan. And Ty Garner, the story right now, he has been sharp. Joel DeZane winds, fires, and right on, and Garner is there to make the save.
And look where Gardner is. About 6-7 feet out of his net. Absolutely giving no angle. And made it look awfully easy as DeZane steps in once again and hits that heavy shot. But again, as this game has progressed, so has Ty Gardner's game. As any goaltender will tell you, the more confident he feels, the further out he's going to come from his net.
Here's DeZane over to Skula with a shot, deflected, bouncing puck, cleared but not out. Again, loose in front. There's a chance. That one bounces over top of the net. Colts continue with the man advantage. Tkachuk and Schmidtke trying to keep it in. Schmidtke has it now. Still has it. DeZane wants the puck. Schmidtke still has it. There's a shot. Garner, the blocker save. Loose in front. Schmidtke has it again. Here's Dennis Schmidtke right in front. Henrich with a shot. Garner makes the save, but Daniel Tkachuk is there to bang home the rebound. Power play goal from the captain of the Colts.
Ty Gardner doing everything he could on the power play, and then finally Daniel Tkachuk, Johnny on the spot, had Ty Gardner down and out, threaded through his legs, and we're all knotted up here at 3.
All kinds of pressure on Ty Garner from the big line of Schmidtke, Henrich, and Tkachuk.
Outstanding save on Henrich in the slot. As the puck comes back to the point here, Henrich here with the first shot, and then Tkachuk establishing position here, getting behind Demonov and banging it in.
Well, Daniel Tkachuk will now go to the bench and go to the penalty box as he nailed Upton right in front of the penalty box and right in front of Bill Prisniak. Knocked the helmet right off of Daryl Upton. So right from the score sheet and to the penalty sheet is Daniel Tkachuk, and here's a chance for the Oshawa Generals.
See the penalty?
With a man advantage of their own.
Well, we continue to see both teams trying to establish a physical presence. And this time, this man getting busted as we see Oshawa Generals.
This is
on the power play.
Daniel Tkachuk. This is the most aggressive I think we've seen him in the times. He's taken a cross-checking penalty. Now he takes another penalty. He's really trying to pick up that physical game. But he's cost his team 2 minutes right now. Baxter fires it in.
Well, as the captain of the team, he wants to establish that they're going to play any type of game and come out victorious.
Right out in front, bouncing puck. Colts will try and clear it, can't do it. Here is Brent Gobro, keeps it in to Zane, watching him. Calling, Ralph, to Baxter, over to Allen, bouncing puck. Allen fires it around behind the net. Kevin Colling is there for the Generals. Drop pass neatly to Brent Gobro. Gobro, back to Colling. Over to Brian Allen. Allen nicely Put in there to Colley, but Colley couldn't get good wood on it. Deflected it over top of the net. And the Colts will clear it down the ice with 1:13 to go.
Oshawa continuing to get the puck back to their strength, and that's their blue line. And letting the likes of Allen and Baxter do what they do best.
And a mistake there as it's icing against the Generals. 1:03 to go in the man advantage.
And one of the keys on this power play is this man right here, Brad Ralph, establishing himself again in front of the net. We saw his goal earlier on the power play in front of the net. And again, establishing position and then capitalizing on your chances.
And here's a guy who was eligible for the 1999 draft and could be getting scouts' attention with his play so far here in the postseason as he leads the Generals in scoring.
He's the first pick, 15th overall in the 97 draft. And he certainly established a torrid scoring pace against the Peterborough Petes, and he continues that with a goal here tonight.
52 seconds to go in the man advantage. Game tied at 3. Baxter across the line, loses the puck, and it's shot out and down the ice. Ilya Demidov will pick it up for the Generals. Verbeek, Tim Verbeek, we haven't seen him, he's out there now, killing a penalty. Peters shoots it in the corner, race for the puck. Vander Clark is there, put it right out in front. Verbeek there to clear it away, but not out. Cameron finally does get it out. 23 seconds to go in the man advantage. Here is Peters. Trying to get around Cameron, can't do it. Cameron takes a bump, and that will be a penalty to Brian Passmore.
And in 16 seconds, the power play ping pong ball will be back over to the Barrie Colts side.
Well, Daniel Tkachuk scored a goal and then went right back into the penalty box. And here is Brian Passmore, a goal scorer on this evening, and he will sit for this in front of the Colts bench.
Well, I don't know about that one. Brian Passmore shaking his head a little bit on that, and I'd have to agree with him there.
High sticking the call. John Goodwin obviously agreeing with you, Nick. But again, 4-on-4 for the next 10 seconds, and then the Colts will have the man advantage.
Good battle by Sheldon Keefe, turning the puck over.
Colts on the power play. Tkachuk is out there now. Keefe and Allen battling for it. Size mismatch there. Tkachuk behind the net, comes up with a puck. Centered it out in front. Chris File waits, tries to fire it through a crowd. Can't do it. Kept in. Wired and fired is Tkachuk. Just missed the open side. Colts effective on the power play. We told you that they were only 8% coming into this one. 2 for 3 so far. Here is Coulter doing a good job of killing off this penalty. 1:12 to go on the man advantage, and here is Sheldon Keefe with a head of steam. Keefe across the line. Keefe behind the net, still has it. Takes a bump from Coulter. Back up top, Sean Cation. Waiting, fires. That one doesn't get through. Jefferson into the corner. Keefe comes up with it. Cation takes the shot. Keefe hesitated, then took a shot in the crowd, and it didn't get through, but the Colts control it. Jefferson takes a bump from Baxter. Back up top, Cation. Cross ice, Sheldon Keefe with a shot. Loose in front! And that one didn't miss by much. Jefferson still has it. Colts doing a great job of controlling the puck. Keefe has it to Jefferson. Time winding down, 28 seconds. Cross ice, here's a chance for Dolzane. Tough angle, Garner right out of his net. Can't get back in, now he does. Cation has it. There's a shot, right through, they score! A deflected goal, it looks like, but the Colts add another power play goal.
Sean Cation again doing a great job of getting the puck towards the net. And we'll have to wait and see if Ryan Barnes got a piece of that.
Specialty teams so important, and the Colts have 3 power play goals. They controlled it, and Sean Cation let it go.
Dolzane, great opportunity, and we see how aggressive Ty Gardner is there on the save. Puck comes back to the point, and there you had Ryan Barnes with a great deflection. And the Barrie Colts go ahead 4-3. Great job by Barnes establishing positioning, getting his stick on the ice, and getting a piece of that puck.
Govro with a shot that almost tied the game. Out in front. There's a chance from Kevin Colley. Generals not giving up. Mike Christian trying to get and he is leveled by Brian Allen. Knocked the helmet flying.
And a few cavities to boot.
Icing will be the call as Mike Christian will get himself together and knock the cobwebs out. A big hit in a big game. It's a 4-3 lead as Christian hits the deck hard.
If you think this action's good, wait till you get the Memorial Cup. It's the second week of May. We bring you all the action, courtesy, of course, of Kevin Quinn.
Hey, it's going to be exciting. And there is Brian Findlay, injured, blocking hand, broken finger, operated on. His status is still up in the air. He is watching from high above and seeing his team come back.
Certainly the last place he wants to be. Great atmosphere here at the Barrie Molson Center. Love to be between the pipes. But he will have to sit and watch like the rest of them here.
There's a weak shot that Vander Clark hangs on to with 1:37 to go here in the second period. Findlay looks on as his team has the lead. Welcome back, everyone, to the Barrie Molson Center. 1:37 to go here in the second period. The Colts on top by the score of 4-3. Kevin Quinn along with Nick Kiprios. And coming up in our second intermission, it will include Bauer around the CHL. We'll get you caught up on the rest of the playoff action in the Canadian Hockey League and our play of the period. Here is Davidoff, a bouncing puck. Sends him back and he gives it away. Here is Michael Christian. Christian with Tetzlaff. That pass didn't work. Smith trying to carry on, can't do it. Peters coming back the other way. Here is Cullen. Too far for him. Christian trying to get around Baxter, and Baxter takes him out nicely. Peters. This center ice, Martin Skula is there. He'll wait for Tetzlaff to get on side. Couldn't do it. Whistled down, and Brad Ralph takes Martin Skula down right in front of the Barrie Colts bench.
Skula rather slow to get up.
That is the way it has been in this game. It is physical. It is playoff hockey. And look at Peters. He wants a piece of Mike Christian. Christian is already on the bench, and Peters is upset.
Well, Peters better be careful, or else he's looking at perhaps a 10-minute misconduct, which he might have gotten already. But again, Brad Ralph finishing his check. And you don't own, not do you only finish your checks for this game, but somewhere down the line, Kevin, whether it could be a game 4, a game 6, or a game 7, those hits add up. And eventually you're not going to wear a guy like Martin Skula down in game 1, but if you finish those checks on this guy right here, eventually it might wear him down, and that's where you try to take advantage of it. Not so much now, but later in the rounds.
Certainly the Oshawa Generals capable of playing that physical game. Less than a minute to go here in the second period. The Colts on top by 1. Here is Joel Dezane. Dezane crosses the blue line with Jefferson. Still has it. Flips it towards the net. Garner the save. Rebound comes out, and the Generals shoot it down the ice. Right on Vander Glock. And he gives it to Martin Skula. Skula. Dezane gets hit by Repnev. Here's a chance now for Colley. Kevin Colley moving in. Still has it. There's a shot. Rebound. And another save by Vander Clark.
There's a save of the game for Vander Clark.
18 seconds to go here in the second period. Vander Clark tested twice. Kevin Colley doing a great job. Dezane will chop it out, but not all the way out. McMillan with a shot. That one was wide. Barnes has it. He'll send it down the ice as the period winds down, and what a period it was. The Barrie Colts coming up with 2 power play goals, and they have the lead. It's 4-3 here at the Barrie Molson Center. The rookie, Vander Clark, keeping it that way with 2 outstanding saves.
Around the CHL. Brought to you by Bauer.
From the Molson Center in Barrie after 2 periods of play, it's the Barrie Colts 4 and the Oshawa Generals 3. And Brof, after a pretty rugged, kind of nasty start to this game, it's settled down somewhat, still rough, but a pretty good hockey game.
Very good hockey game. You know, it really, when you look at the game, the way it's unfolded after 40 minutes now, it's very obvious the Oshawa Generals were quite nervous. You go into the other team's building, they've got all their fans there, and you're under a lot of pressure. But hey, who needs Brian Findlay? Look at that Vander Glock out there. What an amazing save he made in the final minute to keep his team ahead.
Good-looking hockey game, 4-3, the Colts ahead. A big upset today, on the other hand, in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. The Halifax Mooseheads season is over. They were upset by the Acadie Bathurst Teton today in Game 5. Let's have a look at the highlights. No score here until Brandon Reed does it himself to give Halifax a 1-0 lead. But a little while later, he has a chance for number 2, but he's stoned by Roberto Luongo. Halifax, though, does take a 2-0 lead. Ladislav Cohn going all the way himself. That's a beauty to make it 2-0. But then with the score tied at 2, Philippe Plante gets the go-ahead goal right there for Bathurst. And he celebrates in fine fashion right here, all the way to the bench. Yippee! And that would not be all. Gregor Baumgartner gets the insurance marker to make it 4-2. They would add an empty netter to win this one 5-2 and knock off the Halifax Mooseheads in 5 games. 4-1, they win the series, and Acadie Bathurst will now go on to play the winner of the Quebec-Rimouski game. Quebec wins today's game 3-2 to get back in the series. They were in danger of getting knocked out, still are. They trail this series by 3-2. Now in the LaBelle division, 2 games tonight to tell you about. Shawinigan over Hull 1-0 in the second. The Hull Olympic lead that series 3-1. Sherbrooke and Rouyn-Noranda are tied at 1, and that series is tied at 2 games apiece. There is 1 game in the Western Hockey League tonight. It's a Western Conference quarterfinal match. It's Kamloops and Kelowna. That game getting underway in just a couple of minutes. The Kamloops Blazers lead that series by 3-2. And when we come back, we'll talk a little more about these upsets in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and we will also look at the Acadie Bathurst Teton. A feature on them. They have advanced. More when we return. Next Sunday on Sportsnet, we've got a treat for you. The North American University Hockey Championship, the best of the CIAU against the best of the United States. That's next Sunday at 4:30 Eastern, right here on CTV Sportsnet.
Didn't do anything this series, and I guess I got to take the blame. And I'm sorry. I didn't do it. I owed a lot to Halifax, and I wanted do a lot better, and it's not like I haven't worked. I've worked hard, but this thing wouldn't work, and I don't know, I'm sorry, I guess.
Boy, you've got to feel sorry for Alex Tanguay of the Halifax Mooseheads. Obviously very disappointed today. His team getting knocked out by a very surprising Acadie Bathurst Teton in 5 games. That team, a Cinderella team perhaps? Another look now at the Acadie Bathurst Teton and their successful story this year. The QMJHL started the postseason before both the WHL and the OHL, and with some teams already headed to the conference finals, we've had a chance to see who might be cup-bound. One of those teams is the Teton from Acadie Bathurst. They've had no problems finding the net, scoring an impressive 44 goals in the 10 postseason games they've played.
Baumgartner out in front, and they score! Larocque with the one-timer through the 5-hole for a 1-0 lead. Out in front, chips away, they tie this one up, and Charbonneau with the second effort.
The goal scoring has indeed been impressive, but what about goaltending? Roberto Luongo has started all 10 of the postseason games for the Teton. The Islander draft choice has also allowed only a single goal in 4 games out of those 10 starts. And he agrees there is much more he can bring his team.
Well, I think, it's my 4th season in the Q, so for sure I have a lot of experience that I could bring to maybe the younger guys, and also, every game I try to keep my team in the game and do what I can to help my teammates out, and especially I think for the playoffs it's going to be important to have a goalie with a lot of experience.
The Tetons have been strong all through the opening 2 rounds, with 17 of their 22 players recording at least a point. That tells you everyone is contributing, and head coach Dino Massonotti agrees.
We got a special team concept here. I go with everybody. Like Jonathan Girard is a big star for us. He played with training camp in Boston. He did pretty good in training camp. But like I said, we got a good team concept. We get everybody to, one night is one player, the other night is another player. So that's the way we want to keep the team.
And so the Tetons move on at the expense of the Halifax Mooseheads. And Brof, the way they set up the playoffs in the queue, the top 4 teams get a first-round bye, and you've got evidence to suggest that might not be such a good thing for those teams.
Well, you know what we're going to have to watch for next year is every team in the Quebec League is going to be trying to get second place, not first place, because first place gets you a bye, which generally works out to 2 weeks off. Halifax, they waive bye after the first round. Quebec trails 3-2 after their win today. Shawinigan trails 3-1 going into tonight's game. And, of course, Rwanda is 2-2 in their series. That's all the teams that got the bye, so it's not a great thing. However, I think it's a little bit of a fluke because for the most part, it's a long season. Teams like to rest their injuries, and I don't think you'd see this happen year after year.
Some great hockey being played in the queue, and we've got a great one underway in Barrie between the Colts and the Generals. Barrie leads it 4-3 after 2 periods of play. A barn-burning third period upcoming from Barrie.
Around the CHL has been brought to you by Bauer. Leave an impression.
Smiles on the faces of the Barrie Colts fans here at the Barrie Molson Center. The big reason for those smiles is the captain, Daniel Tkachuk, who came up with a power play goal that has given his team the lead. Daniel, first of all, describe that goal for us.
Well, it was just a mad scramble around the net, and the puck jumped loose, and I just kind of poked it home with the back end. Luckily, I found a hole in Tyrone Gardner.
Now, this is real playoff hockey. I don't think I've seen you this physical in a while. You're out there taking some penalties, taking some shots, as well as getting the big goal.
Well, that's what playoff hockey's all about. Everybody's got to step up their physical game and sometimes take one for the team, and they're playing hard hitting as well, so it's going both ends of the ice. It's some good action out here.
Well, Daniel, good luck in this exciting third period that's to come and the rest of the playoff.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Daniel Tkachuk, the captain of the Barrie Colts. Time now for the second period stats, brought to you by Jofa. And Ralph with the power play goal. Passmore. And then Daniel Tkachuk with the game tied at 3 and put his team ahead. Shots on goal continuing to favor the Barrie Colts. And then Barnes gets the big goal that has his team on top. Again, on the power play. And, you know, power play goals, Nick, were few and far between for this Barrie Colts team coming in after that first round, but they've really got the special teams going now.
Oh, no question. And you talk about this time of year, it's specialty teams that are going to end up making or breaking you. And for the Barrie Colts, it's a great sign that their power play clicked.
Now, what about the play of Vander Clark? We saw Ty Garner just standing on his head, but at the end of that second period, Vander Clark came up with 2 huge saves.
Well, that's the types of things that Barrie Colts were looking forward to all along, and that is great goaltending, and he certainly provided it this period. Now it's a question of what's going to happen in the third. I'm really looking forward to it.
Should be a good one as we get set for the final 20 minutes here. We think so far the Barrie Colts have the lead at the Barrie Molson Center. The crowd is loving it. We'll be back with more right after this. Play of the period for the second period brought to you by CCM, the hockey company. 100% hockey. Game tied at 3. The Barrie Colts on the power play. From the shot of Sean Cation, it was Ryan Barnes getting a stick on it, getting it past Ty Garner, and that is the difference right now. We're coming back with the final 20 minutes right after this on CHL Sunday Night.
CHL Sunday Night on CTV Sportsnet. Brought to you by Bauer. Leave an impression. And by Molson Canadian.
Welcome back to the Barrie Molson Center, the final 20 minutes of this hockey game of regulation. Semifinals in the Eastern Conference. The Colts on top 4-3.
And if the first 2 periods are any indication of how this series is going to go, the fans are in for a dandy.
The Colts picking up 3 power play goals, and they have the lead 4-3. Let's check out the Coho game story. Colts power play so ineffective against Kingston.
And again, I want to talk about specialty teams coming into tonight. 2 for 25 on the power play. Prior to that, 3 for 4. And that is the difference now in the hockey game.
Daniel Tkachuk, the captain, getting the goal that tied the game. Ryan Barnes with the goal that has put his team in the lead. Ryan Findlay, #1 goaltender in terms of wins, out with a broken finger. And Vander Glock, the rookie, his first postseason game. Facing 18 shots so far. And a couple of big ones right at the end of the second period. Look at Nick Smith wheel. There's a shot, and Garner got a piece of it. Christian chops it towards the net. Generals trying to get it out. Brent Govro will try his luck. Forced back into his own zone, and Kevin Colley is on the ice. And Kevin Colley, very impressive offensively for this squad.
It's a great set of hands. And when Mark Savard graduated from the Oshawa Generals, now stars for the New York Rangers, he certainly didn't hesitate to pass the torch to Kevin Colley, who had a tremendous year offensively.
Here he comes now, number 16. Wines, fires, and that one goes wide. Passmore will keep it in for the Generals. Skula behind the net will pick it up. He loses it. Here's Colley. He can't get the handle. Brian Allen pinching in. Luck, loose puck. There's a shot, and Colley didn't miss by much. Sheldon Keefe showing that speed, but Passmore cut him off before he could get to it. Colley takes a bump right in front of the Colts bench. McMillan will pick it up for the Generals to Passmore. Shot in. Vander Clark will handle it. Round the glass it goes and out. Again, contact. Gazuris takes a hit from Jefferson. Zane comes up with it.
Both teams not letting up in the physical aspect, and that's what playoff hockey's all about.
Here is Daniel Tkachuk. Michael Henrich will flip it in. Ilya Demidov will get to it first. Trying to get it out, can't do it. Henrich will keep it in. Here's a chance for Tkachuk now. Henrich, there's a shot! Oh, and what a save by Garner as Henrich just missed. And a great setup from the captain.
Power play coming up for Oshawa. As Richard Spence, I believe, was upended.
So a great chance for the Generals here as Ty Garner keeps it a 1-goal game. Michael Henrich had the chance, and there is Daniel Tkachuk going to the penalty box again. I talked to him about it.
He jinxed him again.
I guess so.
That gives him the trick, doesn't it? Tkachuk doing a great job getting the puck to Henrich, and Henrich actually did fan on it. He did not get as much wood as he would have liked. And then on the ensuing play, Daniel Tkachuk taking the 2-minute minor for tripping. And the Oshawa Generals will try to tie this game up.
They are 1 for 3 with the man advantage so far. 5 shots in total, 2 on their last power play.
And look for Oshawa to get that puck back to the point again. And watch for Allen and Baxter to unload.
Round behind the net. Generals control it. Peters down low for Baxter. Here is Ralph being tied up, but Peters comes away with it. Here's a chance for Peters now, moving in, can't get a shot away, loose puck. Baxter will try and keep it in and does.
Great job by Baxter.
Then they lose it, and it's sent down the ice. Brian Allen, first round pick of the Vancouver Canucks, went 4th overall in '98. To Jim Baxter. Fires it into the corner, race for the puck. Generals will keep it in. Upton. Pass intercepted by Skula, but they get it back. Here is Colley now. Nifty move to Baxter. Baxter right in front. And Govro almost tipped that one home. 2 Generals go down, and the Colts get a chance to clear it and do.
Zane doing a nice job battling for that loose puck and getting it down the ice.
Upton offside with 54 seconds to go. Goaltending, so important. Ty Garner facing 30 shots so far. He has been outstanding, and Vander Clark has certainly held his own for a rookie.
Both goaltenders having their moments throughout this hockey game, and Garner getting off to a very slow start, particularly with Christian's goal behind the net, but he has settled in nicely.
Now there is Brian Findlay, the second-year Barrie Colt. Top-rated goaltender, according to the NHL Scouting Bureau. Led the OHL in 36 wins this year. Out with a broken finger, no word on when he will return. Baxter into the corner. Lykos trying to get it out, gets it to Cameron. Cameron has a chance to get it out, but can't do it. General's doing a good job. 30 seconds to go. Here they come. Here's Coley centering it out in front. Cleared, but not out, and finally it does come out as Baxter couldn't keep it in. He and Demidov work the blue line. Here is Jimmy Baxter working against Chris File. File does a good job. And it's shot down the ice, just 13 seconds to go, and the penalty to the captain, Daniel Tkachuk. Coley getting a lot of ice time to Brett Govro. Nifty little pass to Peters, trying to get around the defenseman, Dezane, and he can't do it as Tkachuk steps back on the ice, and the Colts fans show their appreciation for the penalty killers.
Both teams continue to get good opportunities on the power play.
That is icing as Brian Allen fires it in. It's coming back into the Oshawa zone. Martin Skula and the Colts have the lead with plenty of time left to go, though, in this one. Welcome back. Let's take a look at our Mastercard team rankings. And the Plymouth Whalers end up as the #1 ranked team in the country.
Yeah.
But they are facing some problems here in the second round as they are down 1-0.
You could take those rankings and chuck them right out the window because they are yesterday's newspaper.
The Plymouth Whalers, the Ottawa 67s both find themselves down a game here. Skula in front. Schmidtke trying to get a shot away, can't do it. The Generals come back the other way. Long outlet pass, that one intercepted. Henrich will send a backhand into the General zone. Allen is there. Around for McMillan. Henrich will do a good job of keeping it in. Kuzuris will try his luck in getting it out. Dezane with a shot that hit Allen. Schmidtke is there. Tying up along the far boards. Skula will get it now. Skula winds, fires, and Garner makes the save. Schmidtke. Kuzuris has him behind the net. Tkachuk in there to grab the loose puck. Joel Dezane calling for the puck. Has it now. Couldn't get a good shot away. Waits, reloads, fires. Glove save and a rebound coming out, and Upton has it.
Great patience by Dezane there, buying time and then teeing it up.
Generals run a line change. There's a shot. Vander Glock makes the save, and he'll hang on to it. Vander Glock, so far, so good.
The new Team Spirit program, sponsored by Thrifty, can help you raise funds for your team. Call 1-888-541-8887 or contact your local hockey association for details.
Well, it's certainly not hard to figure out why this man here ended up the season with 19 goals and 72 points. Great patience with the puck. And all the top scorers on defense have one thing in common, and that's a high tolerance for holding onto the puck and releasing it at the right time. And this man certainly has that knack.
5 points so far in the postseason. His team with a 1-goal lead, 13-41. 51 to go here in the third period. Here is Jeff Tetzlaff to Nick Smith. Smith fires it into the corner, race for the puck. Demidov gets there first. Generals will come away. Here is Cullen. Being watched closely by Lykos. Baxter will just bang it in. Vander Clark will play it off the glass to Michael Christian. Christian trying to get it out, can't do it. Baxter keeping it in.
Run the other way, Christian.
Here is Peters now. Passmore with a chance. Waits, fires. And he waited too long and fired it into a crowd. We talked about patience there, Nick. There's another example of trying to waiting too long to get the shot away. Passmore hits the deck as Christian took him out. Colts fire it in. Garner will leave it there for Jim Baxter. Here is Govro to Kevin Colley. Kevin Colley with a shot in the pad, save there by Vander Clark. Colley comes up with it again. Here is Kevin Colley. Nifty moves. That shot goes wide. Kept in Spencer. To Zane. Trying to get it around the boards. Skula up to Barnes. Barnes with a nice pass to Mike Jefferson. He pays the price for it. Here is Jefferson trying to work on McMillan. Jefferson cutting for the net. Bouncing puck in the net comes off the moorings, and we've got a whistle as Sheldon Keefe crashes into it. We'll get the net back, and we'll come back physical here at the Barrie Molson Center. Playoff hockey.
Talk about experience and what it means to a hockey club. How about these 6 guys and what they mean to the Oshawa Generals? Of course, losing in the semifinals to Lethbridge. They'd like to erase those memories and add a 1999 Memorial Cup ring.
And Ty Garner, we mentioned him with a month with a big club up in Calgary. Got into some action with the injuries that Calgary had. Here we go as Coulter and Christian going at it. Michael Christian landing a couple of right hands. Brandon Coulter coming back. Christian again, and that was the knockout blow as he sends Coulter down and gets a huge round of applause here from the Barrie Molson Center crowd as Coulter took one on the chin and Christian heads to the box with a TKO.
Mike Christian involved in every aspect of this hockey game. Of course, he got the team off to a great start with the first 2 goals in the hockey game. And now he's getting the job done physically. And this happened just right off the face-off, so you know words were exchanged. And they start exchanging pleasantries.
So Christian with 2 goals and a couple of fights. He has been everywhere. And Michael Christian and the Barrie Colts would love to take a trip to Ottawa around May. How about May 15th to the 23rd? The Memorial Cup from the Civic Center in Ottawa. You'll see it live right here on CTV Sportsnet and the full CTV network.
Now remember, in May, I don't think it's safe to skate on the canal.
No, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
But I'll call you and remind you, okay?
Okay, thanks. I need that. Face off just outside the Oshawa blue line.
Hope your skates aren't as old as your car.
Those Hans Brinker jobs. 12 minutes and 10 seconds to go here in the hockey game. The Colts on top by 1. Tetzlaff and Davidoff race for the puck in the corner. Smith in there as well. He against Gutsuris collide. Tetzlaff comes up with it. Gets it to Smith. They bang away at it. And Jim Baxter comes away for the Generals, who've been outshot 32-22 in this hockey game. In the corner again, Ilya Davidoff will get there first. And that will be icing. Verbeek. Tim Verbeek, Pat Verbeek, number 16. They both seem to play the same way, those brothers.
And for Tim, he hasn't seen too much ice time, but what he has seen, he's tried to make the most of it. And a prime example, finishing your checks, even if they are on the backboard.
Well, in theory, it was there. And as you mentioned, Tim Verbeek not getting a lot of ice time, trying to make the most of it. A veteran part of this drive to the Ontario Hockey League Eastern Conference regular season championship. Verbeek still having words with Passmore. We'll keep our eye on that situation. You played against his brother, Pat.
And with him.
And with him.
On 2 different teams.
You're seeing a younger, New York Rangers, seeing a younger version of that in young Tim.
Well, it's all in the blood. No question about that.
Next game here on CHL Sunday night, a playoff game from the Western Hockey League. It will either be the Rebels at the Hitmen of Calgary or Moose Jaw taking on the Raiders of Prince Albert. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, right here on the Full Sports Network. Full house here at the Barrie Molson Center. Fans have loved this team, and why not, Nick? They play so well at home. A big-time streak, and one of the longest streaks in CHL history.
Well, it's no secret what this building means to the Barrie Colts, and they hope to use the advantage for the rest of the way.
31 games unbeaten in this building. 11 minutes and 29 seconds away from another post-game victory. Here's a chance now for the Generals. Back up the middle, here's Danny Tkachuk, and a great diving effort by Brian Allen.
We want to talk about a guy that does it all defensively. Brian Allen with an exceptional play in the neutral zone to take away a potential breakaway on Daniel Tkachuk.
2 first-round picks in the NHL. 1 from Calgary, 1 from Vancouver.
See that play again, please.
Talked about the home ice.
See a replay of that Brian Allen dive, please.
Spin, home sweet home for the Barrie Colts. 29-2-3 with the with the home ice, and look at the goal scoring. And that's the reason that these fans have been dancing in the aisles.
Big reason.
And you know what else?
Well, I guess I'm not getting my replay of Brian Allen.
We'll get it to you.
Diving.
We promise. Ask and ye shall receive. Yikes. Well, a little bit of a power glitch there. And the lights in the Barrie Molson Center have been dimmed by a little bit of a power hit. Mother Nature wanting to get involved in this game just a little bit.
Maybe we should check and see if the bills have been paid.
Nick, we're going to get you the replay, okay? We promised, guy.
See, I work in mysterious ways.
Man, oh man, this guy does wield some power. Well, the lights are on, the clock is still on, but the referee has called a timeout, and we'll get this situation sorted out as somebody kicked a plug somewhere here at the Barrie Molson Center. We'll try and get it plugged back in. Honest, we pay our bills. It's 4-3 for Barrie. Well, the lights here at the Barrie Molson Center just slightly dimmer, and it's a situation that is covering the entire south end of the city of Barrie. So that's the reason for the delay. And let's take a look at the history of these two teams. Oshawa, 26 seasons. Now, they won the Memorial Cup in 1939, did it again in 1940, and then did it in 44, and then a bit of a drought, and won it in 1990 with Eric Lindros. Let's take a look at the goals put together by the Generals.
Power plays a huge element in tonight's contest.
And the Barrie Colts coming back. You talk about power plays. The Colts, the captain, Daniel Tkachuk. Henrich stopped. There's Tkachuk. That tied the game at 3.
And it's not too often you see Brian Allen have a forward in front, gaining position on him. Daniel Tkachuk did it.
Well, they're doing the wave here. And we'll come back to the Barrie Molson Center when we get this one sorted out.
Okay, a little bit of a delay in Barrie. They'll get things going soon. First of all, you'll wonder what a delay does to either team in the third period of a game 1 of a series. Does it do anything?
Well, I mean, the score's so close right now that I don't think it's going to affect one team any greater than the other. I think Oshawa gets an opportunity to do a little bit of regrouping. Of course, they need a goal to tie the game, try to force overtime. Barrie, when you're leading by a goal in the third period, you want no distractions. You just want the game to end.
All right, let's talk about the importance of a first game, generally speaking. We saw the Calgary Hitmen go down in that series and then come back and win a game 7 and win it big. So they were able to come back despite losing early in the series. What about the importance of a first game?
Well, I mean, the key thing in this game, from Barrie's perspective, is to win with their backup goaltender. They've got to prove that they can win without Brian Findlay, and they're doing that right now. From an Oshawa perspective, you want to go in there, of course, it'd be great to come out with a victory, but even more than that, you want to prove in your own minds that you can play with a team that finished that much higher in the standings than you. And right now, if the game was to end as it is, I'd have to say the Oshawa Generals would go home and feel pretty comfortable with Game 2 in their building, knowing they only lost by a goal, knowing they got off to a very poor start. If they can correct that, they would feel that much better about Game 2. And as I say, you want to get the victory, but you really want to feel comfortable in your own mind that you can play with this team.
Well, you made an interesting point that they go back to Oshawa for Game 2 because if you're not familiar with the way it works here, it's not 2 in the home team's park or rink and then 2 and then 1-1-1. It's 1-1-1-1-1, 1 through 7, so it is really back and forth.
Well, that's the great thing about junior hockey. Of course, in the NHL, you are always concerned about travel, and you could be playing on a different coast. But here in junior hockey, it's just a bus ride, and really, there's not much travel in this series. It's a real quick bus ride. I don't even think the guys could get a complete movie. And you know, we have the VCRs on the bus, and we used to watch movies, and I don't think this is even a one-movie trip.
Well, there's no time for a movie right now anyway. We're just about set to go back in Barrie with the Colts holding on to a 1-goal lead. Let's send it back to the Molson Center with Kevin Quinn and Nick Kiprios.
Well, thanks very much, gentlemen. Not much happening right now. You take a look at the referee, Bill Prisniak, and he has stopped play because the lights here have gone dim. The power outage in the south of Barrie, the reason we're on emergency power right now, and the lighting is just not bright enough, and Prisniak has called a delay.
And I really got to think that this favors the Barrie Colts in a situation like this for the very simple reason they're up a goal already. And it took the Oshawa Generals quite a bit of time to get their feet going. And there's just a question of whether they can get their game going again in the next 11 minutes.
Well, we'll have to see when this game gets going. Fans, though, don't seem to mind. They've been doing the wave. They've been chanting, and why not? And there's the owner, one of the owners, co-owners, Bruce Nickel of the Barrie Colts.
Check on that electricity bill.
Come on, Bruce.
Come on, pay your bills,
Pay those bills, Bruce. We're coming back to the Barrie Molson Center after this. Oh, yeah, he heard us. His TV's working.
Well, with the delay in Barrie, that gives us an opportunity to update you on all the scores from around the CHL this evening. Let's begin in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, where there was an upset earlier today. If you don't already know, we'll tell you now that the Halifax Mooseheads have gone down to defeat at the hands of the Acadie Bathurst Teton 5-2. The final in Game 5, Acadie Bathurst moves on, winning the series 4-1. They will play either Quebec or Rimouski. Quebec won today's game 3-2, but they still trail in that series by 3-2. They're simply trying to hang on in that series. In the Laval Division, 2 games tonight. Shawinigan comfortable over Hull 5-2 in the third. The Olympic lead the series 3-1. Shawinigan staving off elimination probably. Sherbrooke leading Rwanda 3-2. Playing in the third, that series is tied at 2 games apiece. In the Western Hockey League, there is just 1 game to tell you about this evening, and it's just nicely underway, actually late into the first period. It's the Kamloops Blazers and the Kelowna Rockets. It's no score late in the first period. The Blazers lead that by 3-2.
Well, it's a big game for Kelowna. You know, Kamloops, I think, had about a 32-game undefeated streak at home, and Kelowna won in Kamloops the other night. If they can win this game at home now, they've already established that Kamloops is not invincible at home, and wouldn't that be amazing to force a 7th game?
And speaking of the Western Hockey League, that's where we will take you next week on CHL Sunday night. Our game will come from the Western Hockey League playoffs. It will be either Red Deer at Calgary, Game 5 if necessary, and it likely will be. If not, it will be this game, Moose Jaw at Prince Albert, if the Calgary series is over. So there you go, folks. One of 2 games we will have for you in the Western Hockey League next week. Let's send it back to Barrie. Here's Kevin Quinn.
All right, thanks very much, Jerry. And do not adjust your TV sets. The picture is fine. The lights here in Barrie are the problem. It is a power failure in the south end of Barrie that is affecting the Barrie Molson Center. We've been in a delay now for 7-8 minutes. Bill Prisniak, the word was that it was going to be about an 8-minute delay. The teams are on the ice right now, skating around, but still the lights have not come back up to full power. 11 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the hockey game. The Barrie Colts have the lead by the score of 4-3. Ryan Barnes with a power play goal. A little bit of bad luck here on CHL Sunday night. We had this problem in Halifax just a little while ago. And We'll take a look at the all-time team. This, of course, is for the Oshawa Generals, and there's some guy that wore number 4, and they call the place that the Generals play now the house that Orr builds.
Yeah, and you take a look at some of the other names there. Of course, Joe Sorella now joins the Oshawa Generals as an assistant coach, and it's a position that he welcomes into post-career as he finishes up a tremendous career with the Florida Panthers, and now looks forward to working with some of the younger kids. And you know they're going to benefit off of a veteran like Joe Sorella.
There's a look at Daniel Tkachuk, captain of the Barrie Colts, the goal that tied the game up at 3-3. There's a streak of bad luck. Last week, Bathurst at Halifax. Game was delayed 12 minutes because of broken glass, and now we got a power failure. We're going to try and get the referee, Bill Prisniak, wired up to tell us exactly what is going on. But we're having a little trouble doing that. Maybe the generator not working down there.
Really an unfortunate situation for what has been a very entertaining hockey game. Has come to a complete standstill right now.
Shots on goal favoring the Barrie Colts, 32-22. The story, of course, been Vander Clark, the rookie, getting the start because of the injury to Brian Findlay. As we look at John Goodwin, maybe his team will be able to regroup. They have been playing well, of course, coming into this one after taking out the Peterborough Petes in 5 games. In that 5th and final game, they hammered the Petes 9-1. Came in with a second-best power play. After that, the guys will have a chance to retape some sticks as you look at Daryl Upton. He's been involved in the physical side of the hockey game. And there is Vander Clark, who has done pretty well. And, you know, Nick, again, we talked about this guy. It's not like it's the first or second game he's played. He had to stand in for Brian Findlay when Findlay was at the Worlds and did a great job.
Yeah, he did. And again, you talk about different times of the season. During the Christmas break, it gave him a chance to get some games in without too much pressure on him. But again, that is all out the window as he is in the pressure cooker right now against this man here.
And let there be light as the lights have started to return here at the Barrie Molson Center. So
thank goodness Kevin was going to start to pull out his best jokes.
I was going to start singing. Got a whole medley to go. But no, we're not going to have to do that. We've got 11:03 to go in the third period. The lights, as you can see, coming up to full power. And we are going to get back to hockey.
Going to be interesting to see who can get the jump now with 11 minutes and 3 seconds to go.
You got rain delays in baseball. That's a common occurrence, but here is a power delay. And a first, I believe, here for the Barrie Molson Center.
Who can remember where the face-off is? That's what I want to know.
Well, right now it's in the Barrie Molson Center. Barrie Colts end, and John Goodwin and his club down by 1 here with just over 11 minutes to go. Daniel Tkachuk out there to take the draw against Brian Passmore. Both guys have goals in this hockey game. Generals winning. Baxter controlling, trying to get some ice. Chips it towards the net, goes wide. Zane will get it out and down the ice. Ty Garner. We'll see how that affects the goaltenders with this delay. No warm-up, no chance to get some shots on goal.
And if I'm a shooter, all I want to do now is get the puck on net as much as I can and let the goalies battle it to try to reestablish the feel of the puck after such a long delay.
Garner out there to handle it. Fires it along the glass. Henrich will keep it in for the Colts. Tkachuk trying to center it to Schmidtke. Can't do it. Upton for the Generals. Gets it out. Fired in by Repnev. Generals changing. Trying to keep the pressure on. It comes out to center ice, and there is Jeff McMillan out there with Brian Allen. McMillan. Backhand pass for Upton. Nice little pass to Ralph. Brad Ralph trying to fight off a check. Centering it out in front. On the net, Gobro. Verbeek trying to get it. Upton has it. Skula watching him. Up top, McMillan trying to corral a loose puck. Verbeek starts out for the Colts with Daniel Tkachuk. Flips it into the corner. McMillan will get there first. Ralph can't get it out. Here's a chance now. Tetzlaff with a shot. And Garner had to be sharp. Early test for the goalies after this delay. Here is Tetzlaff, still has it. Jeff Tetzlaff knocks down McMillan, shoots it on net. Verbeek is there, tough angle, and Garner makes the save. Cleared but not out. Lakos will keep it in. Wines fires that, hit the skate of Tetzlaff, ends up behind the net. Jefferson is there. Brad Ralph will get to it, tries to clear it out, and does. The Colts putting on the pressure here with just over 9 minutes to go. Icing waved off. File to Lakos. Here is Barnes trying to get around the defenseman, Baxter. And that one is whistled down on the offside as Keefe and Katsouras push. 8:58 to go. And here's one of the guys that has been a welcome addition to the Barrie Colts lineup. Came up in that big 4-player trade back in January.
And to me, Ryan Barnes brings all elements to his hockey game. He's a good skater. He's got a knack of putting the puck in the net, as we saw the go-ahead power play goal. And on top of that, he plays a very physical game, and he has the potential to play pro hockey as a power forward. As long as his development continues at the pace it's going, there's a very good chance we could see that.
Under 9 minutes to go here in the hockey game. Generals trying to find the equalizer. Here is Katsouras. Shoots it in. File cuts him off. Vander Clark will handle it. Off the glass. Cleared. Baxter will keep it in for the Generals. Baxter trying to get loose. Verbeek is there, and he almost came away with it. Demidov in his own zone. Up to number 11, Peters. He shoots it in. Lakos is first to the puck. Around the boards to Jeff Tetzlaff. Tetzlaff out there with Nick Smith. Smith trying to get around the defense. Tetzlaff will carry on. Line pass picked off by Drew Bucktooth. Number 12 has the first Generals goals in this hockey game. Made it a 2-1 game. Here is Joel Dezane. He'll stop. Schwitke cutting for the net. Can't get him the puck. Henrich in there, and he'll tie it up right in front of the Generals bench with 8:01 to go in the game. Here is Michael Henrich. We talked about him, first-round draft pick of the Edmonton Oilers in 1998, but very quiet in the postseason so far.
When you talk about having sweet hands, or soft hands as they say in the hockey world, Michael Henrich certainly has all the skill to be a pretty good scorer. The question is, can he be consistent game in, game out? And that's one of the things that he has mentioned time and time again that he needs to do to take his game to the next level.
Just 1 point so far in the postseason. A couple of good chances tonight. Here is Schwitke trying to get loose. Allen is there for the Generals. Martin Skula along the boards to Michael Henrich. Nice pass back to Dennis Schwitke. Head of steam. Schwitke trying to get around McMillan. Schwitke behind the net, trying to center it out in front. Still has the puck. Dennis Schwitke wheels it over to Skula. Skula, wrist shot on net. Save, loose in front. Clear but not out. Skula, cross ice pass, and that tip by Tkachuk went wide. Schwitke down low to Tkachuk. Allen will get there first, wrap it around the boards. Cleared but not out. Skula will keep it in, just floats it in. And back come the Generals the other way. Here is Brian Passmore. Upton knocked down. Passmore carries on. Drop pass. Here's a chance now. And Repnev on the doorstep. And Vander Glock hangs on to it with 7 minutes to go.
And with 7 minutes, it's real important that the Oshawa Generals start getting their feet moving again. They've slowed down the pace. And again, their strength is their skating ability. Good shot from the point. Again, Barrie has been consistent all night long of getting the puck to the net and making things happen.
Face-off coming up in the Barrie zone. To the left of goaltender Brian Vander Clark, as Coach Bert Templeton looks on from the draw. Generals win it. Cauley trying to get a shot away. Scores! Kevin Cauley.
Well, it was only a matter of time for this guy. As we have seen all night, some quick hands, and he was unrewarded up until this point. Right off the face-off. Go, bro. Off the face-off. As we see Cauley coming in off the top of the circle, and that quick release, finding the low glove side. And just like that, we are all knotted up again at 4 apiece.
Kevin Cawley, his 4th goal of the postseason, 9 points now. Second on the team in that department. And the most important goal that has tied this game, and here come the Generals again. Govro back to Cawley, still on the ice.
Certainly not hard to see why he ended up with 101 points. That was some quick hand.
Colts trying to go ahead one more time. Back and forth. Here is Brett Govro. Cross ice pass. Loose puck. Here is Mike Jefferson. Jefferson trying to get through the defense. Still has it. Round behind the net. Keith can't get to it. He was knocked out by Ty Garner. The Generals get it out. DeZane is there with Martin Skula. Govro in forechecking. Pass for Christian. Too far. Davidoff is there and gets it to Andrew Peters. Peters takes a bump, fires it in, and Vander Clark will hang on to it.
With a little less than 6 minutes to go, you know, the key thing that the coaches are going to now tell their teams is don't turn over the puck at the blue lines. This is where this game will be won and lost now. He's making key decisions, especially at the blue lines. That means within 2 feet of each blue line, you either get it in or you get it out. Either way, make sure, because a turnover will be the difference between being up 1 game or being down 1 game.
Face off in the Barrie Colts zone. Nick Smith in there to take the draw against Kazuris. Colts will control it. Lackos trying to get it out. Battle for the loose puck. Nick Smith wheels. Pass too far for Christian. Long shot in. Rebound came all the way out. Kazuris was there, but Lackos took it away from him. And here is Nick Smith trying to set up Michael Christian. Too far for him. McMillan will touch it, and that will be icing against the Colts with 5 minutes and 28 seconds to go here in regulation time. We're knotted up at 4.
And who else is involved in this? None other than Mike Christian.
2 goals, couple of fights. As we look at Brandon Coulter, the 5th round pick of the San Jose Sharks in last June's draft. He's been involved physically as well.
He has indeed. He got Oshawa off and running on the score sheet, setting up, of course, Drew Bucktooth for Oshawa's opening goal.
5:28 to go in regulation time.
Fans, and that face says it all right here, as we are 5 minutes and 28 seconds away from a possible sudden death overtime.
All right. We'll see what happens if the faceoff comes up into the Colts zone. Passmore in there to take the draw. Behind the net. Lackos picks it up for the Colts. Can't get out though. Repnev doing a good job of forechecking. Tkachuk will try his luck. Here is File from his knees. He will get it to Lackos. Lackos, pass for Henrich. Michael Henrich avoids the check of Ilya Demidov. Nice move to get it over to Tkachuk, who was behind him. Behind the net now. Schmidtke has it, trying to get it out in front. Tkachuk now, circling. Tkachuk trying to get a shot away, couldn't do it. Schmidtke and Henrich were right there. This line's so dangerous. 2 first-round picks. And another player that many expect will go in the first round. Joel DeZane back to Martin Skula. 4 minutes, 37 seconds to go in regulation. Dennis Schmidtke with a head of steam. Here's Schmidtke. He's got Keith with him. Schmidtke with a nice move around the fence. Tips it at the net. And a save by Garner. DeZane trying to get a shot away. Back up top to Skula. Over to Joel DeZane. Loads the cannon. Fires it low. That one hit number 22, Repnev. Colts putting on pressure. Here is Daniel Tkachuk with a head of steam. Tkachuk knocked down. Into the boards he goes. Keefe is out there. Fans looking for a penalty. They won't get it. Kevin Coley. Cross-ice pass to Brad Ralph. Ralph trying to work on DeZane. DeZane takes him down. Ends up on top of him. The puck is there and the whistle blows as Zane and Brad Ralph do some pushing. Now School is involved and so is Brett Govro.
Oh, we take a look at Daniel Tkachuk coming in and driving hard to the net. And did he have a step? Perhaps that could have been a penalty, as he did indeed have a scoring opportunity there.
Jim Baxter took him out. No call from the referee, Ralph Prisniak. 3:52 here to go in regulation. Goal by Kevin Cawley has tied this game at 4. Govro in there to take the draw for the Generals. It's Mike Jefferson. Colts get it. Keith gets it out. Flipped high in the air. Zane waits for it to come down. Bats it out of the air. Baxter keeps it in though. Schooling in front of his own net. Pass for Barnes too far and Allen has it. Allen has it go off the skate and here is Ryan Barnes now. Trying to get around Brian Allen. Allen with that long reach takes it away from him. Loses his stick and grabs onto Barnes's. Behind the play. Alba in the corner. Working it out in front. That pass intercepted the loose puck again. Jefferson and Keith back up top. Skula fires it on net and a pad save there by Ty Garner. How he saw that one, I don't know.
Well, we said all along that this series might come down to goaltending. Certainly going to come down to game 1, that's for sure.
These two teams played 4 times during the regular season. 2 of those games going into overtime. 1 here in Barrie, 1 in Oshawa. Colts won the overtime game here at the Molson Center. The Generals taking it at home. Here's a chance now for Jeff Tetzlaff from a tough angle. Ty Garner didn't see that puck. It went off him and into the crowd, but he looked around after this guy took the shot.
Nick Smith doing a good job headmanning the puck to this man here, Tetzlaff. And he had a real quick release there. As we see Gardner quick with the blocker. And with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go, we're certainly looking at anyone's game.
Face off in the general zone. Nick Smith in there to take the draw against Katsouris. Won by the Colts. Here is Tetzlaff. That one went off the linesman. And the Generals trying to get it out. Can't do it. Garner will leave it there for Ilya Demidov. Smith on him. Gets it around to Coulter. Christian trying to keep it in and does. But here's a chance now for the Generals. Trying to get it out. Can't do it. Garner will leave it there for Ilya Demidov. Smith on him. Gets it around to Coulter. Christian trying to keep it in and does. But here's a chance now for Richard Spence. Shoots it in. Chris Vile trying to get it up to Christian. Generals will keep it in. Here's a chance now for Coulter. There is Christian and Peters continuing to push and shove. You can hear Prisniak telling those guys to keep it moving, and they do, but Christian knocks down Peters. No call with 1 minute and 55 seconds to go in regulation.
Guarantee you that would have been a call in the first period.
Christian gives it up. Here's a chance now for Upton and a big play by Andre Lakos. And the Colts will clear it down the ice. McMillan will touch it up and will come back into the Barrie zone with 1:38 to go in regulation. Zane will keep it in. And the Generals relieve the pressure and get it down the ice. Martin Skula logged a ton of ice time out there with Joel DeZane. Here is Jefferson. He's got Barnes with him. Garner plays it off the glass. Garner getting hung up behind the net. And less than a minute to go now as Demidov keeping down Ryan Barnes behind the Oshawa bench. And Ralph Prisniak, I think, is going to send them both off.
Well, this is actually a good call here because Ryan Barnes did make contact with Ty Gardner. And of course, Demidov wants to send a message here. And because of the fact that he didn't actually throw a punch, I think this is a good
Garner plays it off the glass. Garner getting hung up behind the net. And less than a minute to go now as Demidov keeping down Ryan Barnes behind the Oshawa bench. And Ralph Prisniak, I think, is going to send them both off.
Well, this is actually a good call here because Ryan Barnes did make contact with Ty Gardner. And of course, Demidov wants to send a message here. And because of the fact that he didn't actually throw a punch, I think this is a good call here. A lot of the fans don't agree with it. But Ryan Barnes did make contact, and that's the first penalty. And of course, the second penalty is Demidov. And I certainly wouldn't want to see this game decided by Prisniak making a call. 5 points.
Time winding down here in regulation. Jim Baxter to Kevin Cawley. Cawley with the tying goal. He's out there on the ice, number 16. Generals shoot it in. Vander Clark behind the net. Will leave it for Skula. Almost gave it away. And instead it comes to Dennis Fitke. Fitke avoiding the check but losing the puck. 16 seconds to go in regulation. Here's a chance for Brett Gobro. There's a shot. Loose in front. They score! And who is it? The Collingwood kid, Kevin Cawley. His second goal of the game comes with 10.4 seconds to go. Kevin Cawley jumping on a loose puck and has put his team in front. And the folks here at the Barrie Molson Center are heading for the exit.
What a great job by Kevin Cawley jumping on a loose puck. But if you take this
and has put his team in front, and the folks here at the Barrie Molson Center are heading for the exit.
What a great job by Kevin Cawley jumping on a loose puck. But if you take this back in the neutral zone, you'll see Brian Allen stepping up at the red line on Dennis Fitke and causing the turnover. And just like that, Kevin Cawley is 10.4 seconds away of giving the Oshawa Generals a 1-0 lead in this series. Second look has it, the shot off the boards. Kevin Cawley coming in, and there is one happy bench. But again, Brian Allen getting the job done for these Oshawa Generals, stepping up at the red line on Dennis Fitke and causing the turnover. And just like that, Kevin Cawley is 10.4 seconds away of giving the Oshawa Generals a 1-0 lead in this series. Second look has it, the shot off the boards. Kevin Cawley coming in, and there is one happy bench. But again, Brian Allen getting the job done for these Oshawa Generals, making an outstanding play in the neutral zone, causing the turnover, and having Kevin Cawley pounce on the big, giant size beach ball of a rebound.
4 seconds to go in regulation. Remains in the net. Tkachuk, Govro, Colts shoot it in. Vander Clark can't get out of the net. There's not going to be enough time. The Oshawa Generals skate into the Barrie Molson Center and pick up their first win ever against the Colts, and what a time to do it. The Generals have drawn first blood in this Eastern Conference semifinal, knowing also that not only do they have a 1-0 lead, but the second game of the series is going back to Oshawa. Kevin Cawley, the hero, number 16, 2 goals, including the winner. The Generals victorious We'll come back to the Barrie Molson Center right after this.